Chapter 976. Luo Feng had just heard Emperor Chemin and Li Shuo talk about how difficult it was to receive a challenge. However, in a blink of an eye, the number he received was simply soaring. In a blink of an eye, the number had jumped by a few hundred. With just a few seconds of flipping through the black book, it had already exceeded 30,000. I just entered Glory World and flipped through the black book. The challenge letters were still blank. This is too fast. Luo Feng was overwhelmed by the numbers. When Luo Feng first entered Glory World and gave himself a name, only then did Glory World truly have the identity of Blade River. Before this, even if the other races wanted to challenge the Blade River Emperor, they couldn't find target. Now that Luo Feng had appeared in the plaza of Glory World, the news spread like wildfire. Almost everyone knew. There were naturally many who wanted to spar with the legendary absolute genius Blade River Emperor, and Luo Feng was a third-level beast god inheritor, and amongst the inheritors, there were obviously the most at the third level. There were a total of over 100 million inheritors, amongst which the Universe Knights were extremely rare. The number of Emperor-level undying inheritors still numbered in the hundreds of millions. The absolute geniuses that had trained for trillions of years. Almost all of them had reached the third level. Many of them had already reached the peak of the third level and were beginning to comprehend the fourth level. For example, True Yin was a fourth-level inheritor. Hence, the third-level inheritors were the most. Next were the fourth-level inheritors, then the second-level inheritors, fifth-level inheritors, sixth-level inheritors, seventh-level inheritors, first-level inheritors. The seventh-level inheritors represented the level of the Tianshi Palace leader, incomparably close to the guardian beast god level. Their numbers were extremely few, only a few tens. As for the first inheritors, they had the least number of inheritors, 0. Even those that had just arrived usually had some foundation. There wasn't a single first level. Changyu Emperor, Li Shuo Emperor, and Chemin Emperor all noticed Luo Feng staring at the black book. "What are you looking at?" Changyu Emperor shouted. "Who?" Luo Feng looked at his 3 good friends from the Great Alliance. With so many other races challenging him, news would spread quickly. There was no need to hide it, he said softly. "I've received many challenge letters." Many. Li Shuo Emperor, Chemin Emperor, and Changyu Emperor were stunned. "How many? 100? He hurriedly shook his head. "Dao He, your fame is simply too great. You are able to kill peak-level king-ranked existences as a world overlord, and your inheritors are from the millions and millions of races in the universe. All of them are absolute geniuses. If they don't truly fight against you, many of them wouldn't be convinced. In fact, they would even want to use this opportunity to trample on you. There will definitely be many battle invitations. You have just entered the Glory World, and you will most probably receive over 1,000. Emperor Chemin and 1,000 Reign Emperor looked at Luo Feng. "More than 50,000, Luo Feng said in a low voice. At the same time, he had already blocked off the surrounding area. Sound from the outside could enter, but not from the inside. 50,000? King Shua's eyes widened. 50,000. King Chapman's expression was very complicated. He had been on Circe's Island for a very long time, but he had fought less than 1,000 battles. So many it's only been a while. 1,000 Reign King was also stunned. Looks like King Chapman was a little disappointed. I underestimated the determination of those despicable foreign races to fight you. Your fame is simply too great, and you're only a sector lord. In the Glory World, there are many treasures and treasures in the outside world. When the time comes, you will be at a disadvantage. Firstly, they want to fight you, the absolute genius of the trillions of races in the universe. Secondly, they want to bully you. Thirdly, they think they are stronger than you." Luo Feng looked at the black book. The battle invitations had already exceeded 60,000. There seemed to be many foreign races wanting to fight him. "Dao He, you are a third-level inheritor," 1,000 Reign Emperors said. And in the entire inheritance grounds, the third and fourth level inheritors add up to more than 99% of the inheritors, of which the third level inheritors have the most, over 90 million. Even if only 1% of them challenge you, there will be 900,000 invitations. Luo Feng nodded. However, you have to be careful. Don't accept them easily. Queen Xinyu immediately said solemnly, in the battle in the glory world, all the inheritors will use the same god body, a god body with 100,000 times the strength of the sector lord. They can choose their looks and build, but their strength is the same. Their weapons have to be chosen in the glory world too. They are all normal weapons. Hence, the external conditions are the same for all the inheritors. Your treasures and treasures from the outside world, along with some special techniques from your fortuitous encounters, they will all disappear. Even during battle, you can only use the fusion laws. Thousand Reign Emperor said. In the battle world of the glory world, if you use other laws, they will be useless. You have to use the fusion laws to produce power. Luo Feng listened carefully. Just like Bug Emperor, he is a unique life form in the universe. However, in the battle world of the glory world, he doesn't have that heaven-defying god body, no terrifying talents and techniques, no treasures, etc. Hence, he becomes normal. Back then, he was only above average amongst the third-level inheritors. By the time he became a fourth-level inheritor, he would be below average. Thousand Reign Emperor said. Right? Emperor Chimin creased his eyebrows. And a sector lord's consciousness is much weaker than an undying's. You will be at a disadvantage. Blade River Emperor. Li Shua Emperor said. The other races are all absolute geniuses from the various races of the universe. In terms of techniques, there are quite a few who have created their own absolute arts. There are even a few who have created their own ultimate arts. In terms of origin law comprehension, amongst the third-level inheritors, there are probably some close to perfection. In terms of body amplification, which of these geniuses doesn't have any? In terms of willpower and consciousness, they're all at the pinnacle. Luo Feng took a deep cold breath as he heard. Ultimate arts? For him to be able to create his own absolute art, he was already praised by the primal chaos city leader. In this place where over 100 million absolute geniuses from the various races of the universe gathered, Luo Feng wasn't surprised that there were quite a few who could create their own absolute arts. However, there were actually a few who created their own ultimate arts. That really shocked Luo Feng. Of course, the absolute arts they created were only the first few forms, but they were still terrifying. The ancestral god sect gathers the absolute geniuses from the trillions of races in the universe. Different races, different talents, different life forms. Some are heaven-defying in terms of their bodies. Some have heaven-defying techniques. It's not strange for few of them to create their own absolute arts. Luo Feng thought. He had forgotten. He was the true genius in the eyes of countless other races. There are many invitations. You can't casually accept them. Once you accept, you have to fight. Until you lose all your glory points, only then can you cancel the challenge. Emperor Chimin emphasized, you have to be careful. Luo Feng nodded. At this time, there was a ruckus in the distance. Blade River Emperor, the demon race, Yin Jing Emperor challenges you. Do you dare to accept? Blade River Emperor, I'll let you bet. Haha, you probably only have 3 glory points. I'll bet 3 glory points with you. Do you dare? I really doubt if you even have that kind of strength. You're so famous. I'm afraid it's all because of luck. You don't have any true strength. All sorts of voices spoke in the human language. Some were loud, some were sharp, some were low, some were like thunder, some were hoarse with echoes. In an instant, the entire plaza was filled with different races challenging each other. Right? They were challenging each other. Geniuses? They were all absolute geniuses from their own races. Especially in the battle world where they abandoned all treasures and special techniques. Under these circumstances, how could they easily submit to a sector lord? Do you think that Saber River King will accept the challenge? The tall and thin expert with 9 green leaves on his head asked. Maybe he'll get hot-headed and fight once or twice. However, after he loses, he'll understand the strength of the other races. There will definitely be many who want to challenge him. Even though the 3 of us are challenging him, I don't think it'll be our turn. He only has 3 glory points. He'll lose them all very quickly. Once he loses them all, he won't be able to fight anymore. These 3 experts, whose skin was a mixture of green and black, had green leaves on their heads, and their skin was like tree bark, were talking to each other. These were the plant life form mortal spirit race. They had no gender and relied on the mortal spirit ancestor tree to give birth to their descendants. The absolute geniuses from the various races had indeed roused Luo Feng's fighting spirit. However, he was still rational and didn't dare to underestimate these foreign race geniuses. These weren't the average warriors from the alien battlefields. There were many of them who had created their own pinnacle techniques, much less their own ultimate techniques. It's still climbing. Luo Feng looked at the black book. The number had already exceeded 100,000. Emperor Chimin. Luo Feng suddenly said. Blade River. Emperor Chimin looked at him. I have an idea. Luo Feng said. Give me your virtual universe number. I'll leave Glory World later and enter the virtual universe to contact you. How about we spar in the virtual universe? All right. Emperor Chimin's eyes gleamed. Smart. Emperor Li Shual laughed too. Right, virtual universe. Let's spar in the virtual universe. Blade River Emperor, you should first understand your own strength. Amongst the entire 3rd level inheritors, just what level you're at, after which you can choose your opponent. Count me in. Emperor Chimin and I are considered above average 3rd level inheritors. If you fight us, it'll be very easy to find your own position. I'll join too. Serene Emperor said. I'm from the Great Alliance. I too have a virtual universe number. Haha. Then I'll have to thank the 3 of you. Luo Feng said. Receiving so many battle requests, Luo Feng's heart was itching. How could he bear to give up so easily? Who knew when the next time he would receive so many battle requests would be? After finding out Emperor Li Shuo, Qiu Rain, and Emperor Chimin's virtual universe numbers, Luo Feng's consciousness left Glory World and quickly connected to the virtual universe. Virtual universe, Great Alliance City's training grounds. The training grounds was a vast mountain range. Luo Feng stood on a mountain peak, and on the other 3 peaks stood 3 silhouettes. Qiu Rain Emperor, Li Shuo Emperor, and Emperor Chimin. Blade River, don't lose too badly. Emperor Chimin and the other 2 inheritors' eyes burned with fighting spirit. A long, long time ago, the 3 of them were as dazzling as the 7 Blade Emperors and Dream Sway Emperor. It's just that they've been quiet for far too long. However, in terms of strength, they would only be stronger. P.S. 3 chapters completed. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 977. Who's first? Luo Feng looked at the distant 3 warriors. I'm weaker than the 2 of them. Why don't I go first? Otherwise, if Emperor Chimin or Li Shuo were to go, Blade River Emperor would lose badly. Thousand Rain Emperor teased. Beside, Emperor Chimin and Li Shuo were watching too, waiting for Luo Feng to choose. If you want to go, then go with the strongest. Luo Feng said directly. All right. Emperor Chimin and Li Shuo exchanged glances, following which Emperor Chimin's voice resounded throughout the land and skies. I'm about the same level as Li Shuo. I'll go first. However, Blade River, don't underestimate us. Even though we're low profile within the human beast god race, there are only 2 or 3 emperors stronger than us. As for the 7 Blade Emperors and the other newbies, they're still weaker than us. Naturally, I won't underestimate them. Luo Feng said. He was very clear. The human race had many old people, maybe stuck at the last step for eons. However, some of them had terrifying strength. It was just that many of them were low profile. On the other hand, the 7 Blade Emperors and Dream Illusion Emperor were famous. However, if they couldn't break through after 100 million eras, they would be low profile and forgotten by the later generations. Time was like that. In mid-air, Luo Feng and Emperor Chimin faced each other. Familiarize yourself with the body first. Emperor Chimin said, let me remind you, as the battle will be in the virtual world, hence the moment the battle begins, both sides will immediately ignite their bodies, instantly engaging in the most frenzied battle. Don't be like in reality, unwilling to ignite your body. Luo Feng, however, felt his virtual god body rumble. A powerful energy filled his entire body. Every single cell was formed from incredibly powerful condensed god energy. As long as he willed it, he could instantly transform it into endless god energy. Even if his body was torn apart, he could instantly recover it. This powerful and absolute control feeling far exceeded that of a Sector Lord. A body with 100,000 times Sector Lord strength. Compared to reality, there are pros and cons. Luo Feng familiarized himself with the body. In reality, even with the help of the General Spirit, my spirit energy is only at the beginner Emperor level. Only relying on my willpower that's even stronger than most knights, I've finally reached the pinnacle of an Emperor. But now, even without the General's soul, just this illusory divine power alone is already at the peak of the Kinkenferd realm. Coupled with my will and consciousness, it's only natural that I'm even stronger. Origin force and spiritual energy, when one was in the Sector Lord realm, they would fuse together to form world energy. When it was undying power. Illusory, undying power could be used to launch soul attacks. In reality, back then, when I inherited the Spirit Amplifier technique from Demon Note, because my world energy was too weak, even after the amplification, it wasn't much compared to the General Soul. Luo Feng thought. However now, my God energy has completely amplified once more. From the God force and amplitude, Luo Feng had indeed improved a lot. But there were also weaknesses. Even without the star map, the power of the star map was enough to allow Luo Feng to skip 2 or even 3 levels. Weapon. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and immediately 600 golden balls floated out. The translucent golden balls were filled with Origin Law engravings. These 600 golden balls already contained Luo Feng's strongest move within. This was a very normal spirit weapon that Luo Feng had created in the virtual universe. After all, in the glory world, only normal weapons could be used. Have you gotten used to it? Emperor Cha-Man said. Haha. Emperor Cha-Man, don't lose too badly. You have to use your full strength. Luo Feng immediately rumbled, and every cell in his body began to burn. His energy rose, and his strength immediately rose by 1,000 times. How long have you been training for? I'll let you know that us old folks aren't to be trifled with. We'll finish you within 3 moves. 2 knife claws suddenly appeared in Emperor Cha-Man's hands. Those were huge claws that covered his fists. Wong. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and the 600 golden balls floated. Spirit Reader? Emperor Cha-Man frowned and looked suspiciously at Luo Feng. The race should have informed them before they went to the inheritance grounds. Spirit readers that walked the beast god path would be at a disadvantage. How is this Blade River Emperor a spirit reader? Luo Feng casually tossed. The blazing hollowified god power passed through the complex law runes on the 600 gold balls, instantly triggering the fusion laws. In an instant, a gigantic beast deity appeared in the sky. By relying on the blazing god power to execute this move, it caused the beast deity to look even more real. As for the scaled tail, it was filled with an endless pressure. Oomph! Emperor Cha-Man fiercely snorted. Rumble, his entire body swiftly transformed. Scales appeared all over his body, and his arms thickened. He was like a human-shaped beast god. Behind him, a huge and indistinct beast god silhouette appeared. His eyes were filled with madness. An originally elegant human warrior immediately became incredibly savage and crazy. He became a beam of light and rushed at Luo Feng. Changyu and Li Shuo Emperor watched carefully from afar. That Blade River Emperor is indeed powerful. He's actually only slightly weaker and quickly got used to Emperor Cha-Man's battle style. Changyu Emperor was overjoyed. They're actually evenly matched. Don't rush, Li Shuo Emperor said softly. Emperor Cha-Man thinks that Blade River's training time is too short and his techniques aren't good enough. Hence, he didn't use his true strongest techniques from start. Look, isn't that Blade River Emperor at a disadvantage? Now that the divine body is the same, it tests one's comprehension of the laws, secret arts, divine power amplitude, experience, and so on. King Chapman is already very perfect in these aspects. His secret arts are also peak ultimate arts, and his divine power amplitude was also inherited by the divine general demonic note. Pinnacle techniques weren't rare at all. Universe Knights could almost all create their own pinnacle techniques. And those absolute geniuses that had hopes of stepping into the realm of knights naturally had high expectations for themselves. Especially since they couldn't break through for so long, they placed even more emphasis on creating their own techniques. Unless those races were very weak and didn't have a good teacher, otherwise with a good teacher in a long period of time, creating their own pinnacle techniques was indeed not a small number. Luo Feng was praised back, then only because the time he took to create his own techniques was very short. That Blade River Emperor is already not bad at all. But Emperor Cha, man isn't what? Li Shua Emperor was shocked. Blade River Emperor, Blade River Emperor. Chan Yu Emperor too stared. Blade River Emperor actually immediately exploded. Before, the two were still evenly matched. However, right after, the Blade River Emperor's strength seemed to explode, and he actually suppressed Emperor Cha Man. In midair, Luo Feng's eyes were filled with madness. His willpower immediately reached its peak. Rumble. In midair, the scaled tail of the giant beast god was like a road roller crushing the space-time. Rumble. The space-time trembled. The scaled tail was incomparably ferocious, and its power was boundless. It was extremely overbearing. At the same time, its speed was terrifyingly fast. Pung. King Shaman, the beast god in human form, roared and used his claws to block the scaly tail that was lashing at him. Pong! His entire body was violently whipped. His divine body's exhaustion immediately increased. Amid defeat, Luo Feng didn't show any mercy. He madly attacked, suppressing Emperor Cha Man time and time again, until Emperor Cha Man's divine body completely dissipated. Luo Feng's victory. Luo Feng stood in midair and looked at the distant shocked Changyu Emperor and Li Shuo Emperor. He was shocked within. I didn't expect to be forced to this extent. I've used my own strongest technique, and even compared to them, I still have the beast god mentality advantage. When the other inheritors used their origin law comprehension to activate their ultimate moves. However, Luo Feng used his beast god mentality to activate his ultimate moves. Just in terms of origin law comprehension, Luo Feng was at the mid-level 3. However, his beast god mentality had already exceeded the perfect level 3, reaching the entrance of the 4th level. After all, his beast god mentality was extremely close to the 21st level of the heavenly bridge. Hence, with the beast god mentality, Luo Feng had a huge advantage. Along with his spirit energy oscillation, Luo Feng was very strong too, and wasn't considered weakness. However, when Luo Feng's willpower wasn't fully unleashed at the start, he was actually at a disadvantage. This made Luo Feng exclaim. His willpower that was even stronger than most of the knights exploded. If he was a fighter, the benefits of having a strong willpower wouldn't be obvious. However, spirit readers were different. Willpower was the commander, consciousness was the general, spirit energy was the soldier. The willpower was extremely strong, causing Luo Feng's spirit weapon power to rise by 2 levels, from being at a disadvantage to completely suppressing Emperor Cha Man. I've lost. Emperor Cha Man flew over, looking incredulously at Luo Feng. Blade River, how did you? I admit defeat too. There's no need to continue. Li Shua Emperor shook his head and sighed. Blade River, your reputation is indeed not fake. Other than treasures, your own strength, we all respect you. The two of them didn't feel good within. Even though they were low profile, they were very confident in their strength. Amongst the countless geniuses in the inheritance grounds, they were ranked above average. One had to know that once one reached a certain level, it was very hard to improve. Their willpower, consciousness, techniques, God energy oscillation, etc., had all reached a near-perfect level. However, they still lost, and it was a crushing defeat. Relying on the beast-god mentality and willpower, these two absolute advantages, I was able to completely suppress Emperor Cha-Man, Luo Feng thought. Meanwhile, in the distant core area of the Ancestor God sect, on Circe Island, the inheritors who had sent Luo Feng a dual invitation and were discussing this matter in groups of 2s and 3s soon received an answer. That Blade River Emperor is, after all, just a sector lord. In a virtual world, abandoning all treasures in reality, he relies on his true strength. Humph. Didn't Bug Emperor also have to lower his head back then? I estimate that there are at least hundreds of thousands of challenge letters. I know a lot more. So many challenge letters. How many will he dare to accept? He too challenged me. What, accepted? You're really lucky. He probably just picked the weakest ones, he accepted my challenge too. I've received his reply too. He accepted. In the glory world, in the open-air plaza, a large number of outsiders were flipping through their black books. All of them had received a reply. Accepted. He accepted. He accepted. Blade River Emperor accepted. Voices resounded from all over the plaza. This caused the trillions of races in the universe to be shocked. Just how many challenges did this Blade River Emperor accept? Probably tens of thousands of them. P.S. Here's the first chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 978. The Circe Island was surrounded by endless colorful auroras, and the halo that demonstrated the mysteries of the origin law of the universe was constantly expanding in the sky. There were many palaces on the Circe Island, and one of them was decorated with ancient sword carvings. Suddenly, the palace door opened, and a figure walked out. He was wearing purple armor, and there was a mark of 7 swords between his eyebrows. His whole body was like a sword, and his eyes were as sharp as swords. 7 Sword King, your human king of Knife River, is really amazing. 7 Sword King, did you challenge him? 2 dark aliens who looked like short chimpanzees shouted in the distance. The 7 Sword King was a little famous on the Circe Island because he had found a treasure in the Treasure Land. That Treasure Land turned out to be the place where a super existence of the Ancestor God sect had left his inheritance. In the glory world, he might be average, but in the real world, with the 7 sword inheritance and the beast god's inheritance, which made countless strong people jealous, he would be very terrifying when he went crazy. His life-saving ability was incomparably heaven-defying. Even many human strong people were jealous of his luck. The 7 sword inheritance alone made him, and Dream Sway, King, the 2 immortal geniuses of this generation of human beings. And the inheritance of the beast god made his status in the human race higher than that of Dream Sway King. However, many aliens didn't know what the treasure he had found was, and the 7 Sword King had always kept it secret. Even the top race, the machine race, only knew that he had obtained some kind of inheritance. The treasure land was the treasure left by the beast god, the guardian beast god, and the beast god of the Ancestor God sect. As for what the treasure was, it was hard to say. It didn't necessarily have to be related to the way of the beast god. For example, if Luo Feng's status was high in the future, he could still put some treasures that he accidentally obtained in the treasure land for future generations. As a result, except for the 7 Sword King, the top leaders of the human race, and the Ancestor God sect, no other forces knew how amazing the 7 Sword King's actual harvest was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent the Life Destruction King to assassinate him. He's also a human being. Why should I challenge him when so many alien strong people want to challenge him? Sword light flashed in the 7 Sword King's eyes, and he laughed out loud. Oh, right. Do you know how many challenges this Saber River King has accepted? If even you don't know, how would we know? All we know is there are at least 10,000 matches. With a single step, the 2 of them crossed over 1,000 kilometers, disappearing into the distance. 10,000 matches? The 7 Sword Kings stood in front of the palace and muttered to himself, Blade River King, the most outstanding genius of the human race. Saber River King, I will not admit defeat so easily. After what he had obtained in the treasure ground, he had already thought that he had surpassed the Dream Sway King and was the most talented human of his generation. But now, the Blade River King had appeared out of nowhere. Back then in the extraterritorial battlefield, you were very inconspicuous, so I didn't care about you at all. I didn't think that your true identity was actually the Realm Lord. Knowing that you have accepted so many challenges, I really wanted to take a look at you. For the first time, I want to see what kind of genius of my human race that even my teacher believes has surpassed me is like. The Seven Sword King silently said, I don't know if you're truly confident or if you are crazy, but you have actually challenged me over 10,000 times. You will soon understand the inheritors here are all peerless geniuses. Even I can only be considered average in the world of glory. The cruel reality will soon wake you up. The core area of the Ancestor God sect, one of the 8 directional Beast God temples, the Thunder Beast God Temple. From the outside, the entire Beast God Temple looked like a towering and resplendent palace that was hundreds of millions of kilometers tall. But in reality, the palace was actually a part of space-time. In this part of space-time, there were rivers, mountain ranges, ice and snow, desert scenery everywhere. In the depths of an endless mountain range. It was like breathing. Every roar would fill the space-time that spanned over a light year with lightning. Countless lightning bolts would shoot out, and every who would cause violent winds to howl in this part of space-time. Countless mountain ranges would be destroyed, rivers would cease to flow, and deserts would be filled with sand. Thankfully, there were no other living beings in this space-time. How dare you disturb my slumber? A rumbling sound resounded throughout space-time. A few mountain peaks in the endless mountain range were pushed up, and a gigantic 3-legged, winged, green-furred beast god that was over 100,000 kilometers long stood up. Every step it took caused the ground to tremble and mountains to collapse. The Ancestor God made me manage the trifling matters of the sect. The other 7 beast gods are all slacking off somewhere. I'm the only one left to stay here for 100 million epochs. How long have I been sleeping? It's only been 30 million epochs. I actually have to stay here for 70 million epochs before I can leave? The huge fur-covered beast god walked, causing space-time to tremble. Come in. The Thunder Beast God finally spoke. The space-time of the Beast God Temple opened up, and the God General who had been waiting outside immediately entered. God General Bloodfire greets the Beast God. God General Bloodfire streaked across the sky and landed on the peak of a mountain range. He looked at the Beast God in the distance, which was even larger than the mountain range, and immediately greeted him respectfully. I said before, don't disturb my slumber unless it's something really important. The Thunder Beast God spewed out a stream of air from his nostrils, causing the surrounding mountain range to vanish into nothingness. More lightning appeared out of nowhere in the sky, as though expressing the Thunder Beast God's fury. God General Bloodfire bowed respectfully. Beast God, it's something important. God General Bloodfire was helpless. The Ancestor God sect had long-formed system. Many matters could be resolved by God Generals, especially since the Beast Gods were lazier than the other. They couldn't be bothered to manage things, and they couldn't even be bothered to connect their consciousnesses to the world of glory. Clearly, splitting their consciousnesses made them very unhappy. Speak. The Thunder Beast God looked down at the tiny God General Bloodfire. After inheriting the position of God General Bloodfire was definitely an existence that could fight ordinary universe lords head-on. As for the Thunder Beast God, once he inherited the position of Beast God, he would become even more powerful. We discovered a universe genius worthy of the Ancestor God sect's nurturing, said God General Bloodfire immediately. Universe genius? You interrupted my slumber because of this? The Thunder Beast God's eyes flickered with lightning. Because he can kill peak-stage kink-and-furred experts when he's a world overlord. God General Bloodfire hurriedly said, A powerful special life form? The Thunder Beast God's eyes lit up. The Ancestor God sect also needed to nurture experts, and the Insect Monarch was one of them. Things would be different if the Ancestor God sect took a liking to him. It was just that the Ancestor God sect had extremely high standards. The so-called peerless geniuses in the universe, even if they were at the level of Kadi, were beneath their notice. No, a human. He is a human, but he was able to kill peak-stage Seal Kings when he was a world overlord. The Bloodfire God, General said. And he did it head-on. Divine General Bloodfire was managing the Ancestor God sect on behalf of the Beast God, so he knew more secrets. In terms of understanding the operating laws of the universe the most, without a doubt, it was the Ancestor God cult. A frontal attack? This goes against the laws of the universe. The Thunder Beast God's voice rumbled. If it was a world overlord who relied on sneak attacks and some powerful treasures, there was hope. But a head-on battle? A peak-stage Sealed King, with just a soul attack and a god attack, could easily defeat a world overlord. According to the Ancestor God sect's intelligence, especially when he was in the ice prison, he relied on treasures to hide his energy, allowing him to fight against an emperor invincible. He could defend against soul attacks and material attacks. His strength could even kill an emperor invincible. The Bloodfire God General said. The Thunder Beast God's huge eyes gleamed. He had a special encounter, and this special encounter allowed him to go against the laws of the universe, and not be suppressed by the laws of the universe. It was very clear what this meant. The universe was fair. Even the general armor and emperor armor that could raise one's strength placed a huge burden on the body. For example, the emperor armor required one to have 10,000 times the strength of a sector lord to wear it. Even the Golden Horn Beast had to train in the 9 Calamities manual to wear it. Hence, without the Heavenly 9 Calamities manual, the general armor, emperor armor, general soul, etc., couldn't be used at all. Without these, Luo Feng would just be a normal absolute genius. At most, he could match up to Kadi. How could he kill an emperor invincible as a sector lord? Going against the laws of the universe. Won't he be suppressed? The Thunder Beast God's voice rumbled. Pay attention to him. From now on, always pay attention to him. Beast God, because he has a huge reputation in the universe. After all, being able to kill an emperor invincible as a sector lord, even though other powers besides our Ancestor God sect don't understand the meaning behind it. He is after all a human. Being able to do this is still shocking the universe. Hence, after he came to the inheritance grounds, he received large amounts of invitations from the other inheritors. Just now, this human accepted all the invitations. The Bloodfire God, General said. All? The Beast God was shocked. Yes, all the invitations, over 620,000 battles. The Bloodfire God, General said. 620,000 battles? What's his name? The Beast God General asked. Blade River Emperor. His real name is suspected to be Luo Feng. The Bloodfire God General said. Take a good look at the results of these 620,000 battles. I too want to know, an existence that goes against the laws of the universe, just how far he can go. His opponents are absolute geniuses from all over the universe. The Beast God General said. Glory World, Battle World. Within the endless desert, Luo Feng was dressed in black armor and boots. Simultaneously, he had a pair of scaled wings. Because Luo Feng's flying and dodging skills were the most convenient and quick to use his wings. What a powerful god body. I haven't even become an undying, but in the virtual world, I can already feel the feeling of having a 100,000x sector lord strength. Luo Feng looked at the distant silhouette. In the distance, a silver gray snake-shaped monster slowly drilled out of the desert. Its triangular head was raised high. Its huge body was in the desert, faintly discernible. Luo Feng smiled. The first battle of the 620,000 battles. P.S. Chapter 2 has ended. There's still Chapter 3. Not finished yet. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 979. The silver snake monster slowly slithered out of the desert. It raised its triangular head and stared coldly at the distant Luo Feng. It let out a sharp, high-pitched sound that was millions of times louder than scratching glass. Blade River King, how many glory points do you have? Do you dare to make a big bet with me? The sound was like a shock wave that lifted up the endless sand. You're honored, because you're my first opponent in the glory world. Luo Feng smiled in the sand. First? Ha. Looks like I deserve to be happy. 3 glory points. Do you dare? The silver snake monster stared at Luo Feng, full of provocation. I'll choose 1 glory point to fight against all my opponents. Luo Feng said. He wasn't stupid. Based on his battle with King Chapman and some of his own logic, he should be at the top of the 3 inheritors with his beast god mentality and powerful willpower. However, he was afraid of making a mistake. If he made a big bet and lost, he would lose all his glory points and wouldn't be able to fight against other opponents. He had over 620,000 battles. Even if he bet 1 glory point per battle, it would be enough. Haha. I wanted to win your glory points so that the other inheritors can't fight against you. When that time comes, the entire Circus Island will know that you, Blade River King, were defeated by me, Kafunsi King. The Silver Snake Monster said proudly. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Luo Feng sneered. You're just a warm-up. Damn it. Along with the ear-piercing scream, a terrifying aura shot up into the sky, causing the entire desert to shake. Very good. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. Rumble, the aura around his body exploded as he ignited his immortal body. At the same time, he flapped his scaled wings and became a beam of light. At the same time, he swung his left hand and 600 gold pearls flew through the air. These 600 gold pearls were made purely from the Glory World's battle world. Each pearl was made from materials commonly used by Emperor-level spirit readers to make weapons. Along with the beast god's roar and the silver snake monster's ear-piercing scream, the battle began. Only a few seconds later, after tens of exchanges, Kafunsi King's godly body was completely destroyed. No, the silver-gray snake's silhouette's sinister eyes were filled with disbelief and anger. It wasn't willing to believe that it would lose to a world overlord. Under the same conditions, it actually lost. After that, its silhouette turned blurry and vanished. Clearly, it was kicked out of the battle world, because Luo Feng had started his second battle. 4 glory points, Luo Feng took advantage of the gap between the 2 battles to flip through the black book. Indeed, his glory points increased by 1. The first opponent I chose earlier was considered average amongst the 3-level inheritors. Its strength was indeed slightly weaker than Emperor Chaman. Luo Feng didn't even have to use his full strength to defeat his opponent. He was still standing in the desert. Luo Feng looked at the distant second opponent, smiling. Another free honor point, he's here. The battle continued. Glory World's open-air plaza was in an uproar. At least 100 million inheritors from all over the universe had their consciousness connected to Glory World. Even the 7 Sword Kings were the same, because they had received the news that Blade River King had already begun to challenge them. What? You actually lost to that Blade River King. That Blade River King is just a sector lord. He doesn't have any treasures or external items in the battle world, and you still lost? Ha. I actually lost. How useless. I hope that Blade River King doesn't lose all his honor points so quickly. That way it'll be my turn. Watch me. In the beginning, the 3 foreign race experts who lost consecutively were ridiculed by the other inheritors in their respective forces. Although they were ridiculing them, the other inheritors were also on their guard because they knew the strength of their companions. However, the open-air plaza was simply too huge. Close to 100 million inheritors were gathered there, with hundreds and thousands of them divided into their own groups. Hence, the news of the 3 who lost consecutively only spread within their own circles. The other inheritors didn't realize anything yet. However, Luo Feng's battles were simply too fast, because in the battle world, his godly body would recover after every battle. Hence, Luo Feng didn't need to rest at all, consecutively fighting 1,000 battles in one go. After spending about 11 hours, Luo Feng temporarily stopped and decided to rest. 1,000 battles, spending close to 11 hours. In truth, every battle, the actual duration of the battle, doesn't even exceed 10 seconds. It's actually the activation of each battle within the battle world and the conversations that take up a bit of time. Luo Feng thought. Luckily, Luo Feng was usually too lazy to speak. Instead, he would say things like, "Give me your honor points, prepare to die, I'm getting impatient," etc. to provoke him. Redbud Island, before Luo Feng's mansion. Blade River. Blade River. A shout resounded from outside. After battling 1,000 battles, Luo Feng, who had temporarily left the glory world and was preparing to rest, heard two shouts from outside. He knew it was Chanyu Emperor and Chimin Emperor. Luo Feng took a step and vanished from the pavilion. Arriving at the entrance of the mansion, he personally went to open the door. Outside stood 3 people. They were Chimin Emperor, Chanyu Emperor, and another human inheritor. 7 Blade Emperors? Luo Feng was shocked as he looked at the visiting human warrior. Back in the Star Tower, he had seen this 7-Blade Emperor before. The 7 Swords King carefully observed the Blade River King, whose name shook the universe. This was the first time he seriously observed the Blade River King. The Blade River King looked very ordinary at first glance, but if one carefully observed the Blade River King's eyes, they would be able to sense the incomparably terrifying spirit force contained within the Blade River King's heart. That was the confidence that came from his strong willpower and his extreme determination towards himself. Even a sense of tyranny was contained within. This was something that Luo Feng's identity had been revealed by the Sky Wolf leader. He no longer tried to hide it. Instead, he became even more determined and prepared to face any storm. True gold fears no fire. Only through constant training would one's blade shine even more. 7-Blade Emperor, this is our second meeting. Luo Feng's lips curled into a smile. Last time I was only paying attention to the ceiling stars. I didn't notice the Blade River Emperor. 7-Blade Emperor smiled. Today I've specially come to meet the legendary Blade River Emperor. I wonder if Blade River Emperor would welcome me. Of course you would. Luo Feng smiled and moved aside. You 3, please. I've said before that Blade River Emperor is a very easy friend to get along with. Chinyu Emperor smiled beside. Emperor Chimin, however, was very calm. Luo Feng and the other 3 entered the mansion. Very quickly, they arrived at the guest hall. This guest hall was still in the style of Luo Feng's hometown, Jiangnan. Within the hall, there were only chairs and a tea table. Luo Feng sat in the main seat. Even though the 7-Blade Emperor, Chinyu Emperor, and Chimin Emperor were curious about the layout, they looked at the 3 chairs on the left and right and casually sat down. Blade River, Emperor Chimin said, "Just how many battles have you accepted?" "Everyone that has challenged me. I've accepted them all," Luo Feng said. Beside, Chinyu Emperor and 7-Blade Emperor were slightly shocked. "Then how many?" "Back when you entered the Plaza of Glory World for such a short period of time, there were already tens of thousands of battle requests. And right now, the other races in Glory World are spreading the news. After asking the other powers, they've already guessed that you've challenged over 100,000 battles. The main thing is that there are too many powers, it's hard to calculate in a short time. However, in a few days, it should be clear." Luo Feng smiled. "Right, when I first entered Glory World, there weren't many battle requests. After that, the number increased. I've received a total of over 620,000 battle requests. It's not out of my expectations. The total number of 3 inheritors is over 90 million. 620,000 battle requests isn't even 1%. 666? 62? Emperor Chimin couldn't help but be shocked. 620,000? Chinyu Emperor too opened his mouth wide. Even the 7-Blade Emperors were stunned for a moment. This number was too terrifying. One had to know that Emperor Chimin had been here for an incomparably long period of time, yet he didn't even reach 1,000. After all, challenging someone was a very cautious thing. Plus, the human race had already met many enemies from other races in the universe. Sector Lord to be able to kill an Emperor-level pinnacle. King Chapman shook his head and sighed. "Your name is too big. You've long been recognized as an absolute genius who can leave his name in the history of the universe. Those alien race inheritors want to fight with you personally. Furthermore, the alien race inheritors are too confident. No matter how cautious they are, with over 90 million inheritors, it's indeed very normal for over 620,000 inheritors to challenge you. We've come here to congratulate you. Congratulations on your 989 wins and 11 losses today. Chinyu Emperor laughed loudly beside. Congratulations, Emperor Chimin said, earning over 900 glory points in one day. That's enough to exchange for 9 inheritance chances. The Seven-Blade Emperor sighed. How enviable. And Blade River Emperor, this is only your first day. Luo Feng smiled, thinking within, and I've lost 11 times. Even though his own strength was at the pinnacle, that didn't mean he was the strongest of the 3 inheritors. One had to know that different battle styles, different techniques, and even mutually countered each other. And Luo Feng chose his opponents. Of the 1,000 he chose on the first day, some were strong and some were weak. After all, those who challenged him were usually more confident, especially the pinnacle warriors. As long as they were on Circe Island, almost all of them would challenge him. Luo Feng accepted them all. Losing these glory points, I don't care. To be able to battle with so many other inheritors, haha, it's worth it. Luo Feng was filled with pride within. On the second day, Luo Feng continued his battles. Luo Feng's battle results, the other inheritors only needed to look at the black book to know. On the 3 inheritors list, it was clearly written XX wins and XX losses. 1,000 battles a day. He would rest after each battle and continue the next day. And so went on. Luo Feng's glory points rose at an extremely fast rate. This made countless other inheritors stare with gaping mouths, especially that extremely high win rate. It proved that the Blade River Emperor belonged to the pinnacle of the 90 million third-level inheritors. This made many of the other inheritors who wanted to trample on the Blade River Emperor regret it greatly. It was a pity that they had already sent out the challenge letters, and Luo Feng had already accepted them. They couldn't go back on their words. Even if they didn't fight, it would be seen as them giving up, and they would still lose 1 glory point. P.S. This week, Tomato has been working hard to make up for it. Who would have thought that he would end up owing 5 chapters? It was all tears. However, Tomato was filled with confidence. Damn, Tomato has already completed 9 chapters a day. Tomorrow, Saturday, Tomato will complete 5 chapters. 5 chapters will definitely be done. Brothers, monthly votes, recommendation votes too. Tomorrow, 5 chapters. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 980. Today's first update. In the Plaza of Glory World, the tens of millions of inheritors gathered, frequently flipping through the black books, looking at Luo Feng's battle records on the 3 levels of inheritors. 2,682 wins, 18 losses. This was the latest battle record. Today was also Luo Feng's 3rd day of challenging. He had already battled close to 2,700 times. How is this Blade River Emperor so powerful? My glory points, I've lost 1. Every time I challenge in the battle world, I've always been very careful. I definitely won't mess with the higher ranked ones. I've always tried to pick ones weaker than me, and most they've been on par with me. Being so careful, I've only earned 51 glory points today. I didn't expect to lose 1 just like that. However, this Blade River Emperor, the speed at which he earns glory points, it's simply insane. Let's not talk about it anymore. I have to give him some honor points. Who knew that this human would be so strong? Who, a strange race expert with dozens of tentacles who looked like a sea monster, seemed to be very dissatisfied. The hundreds of thousands of inheritors who challenged him this time have suffered greatly. Even though I didn't challenge them, thinking about it, I can't blame them. To be able to trample on the legendary Blade River Emperor is such a delightful thing. However, I didn't expect a mere Sector Lord. Without any external help, under the same conditions, he's still so strong. This is simply The plaza was practically filled with discussions revolving around the Blade River Emperor. They were shocked. These inheritors saw Luo Feng's 2,779 wins and 19 losses, 2,789 wins and 19 losses, 2,811 wins and 19 losses, 2,889 wins and 19 losses. While they were talking, his battle record continued to soar, causing those inheritors who worked so hard to earn one glory point to feel embarrassed. If that Blade River Emperor had revealed his strength in the battle world right from the start, then there definitely wouldn't have been so many inheritors giving him glory points. The inheritors all treasured the glory points. It was a pity it was too late for regrets. To be able to earn such a huge amount of glory points like the Blade River Emperor, he's probably the only one. Many of the universe's inheritors exclaimed, to do what Luo Feng did. Firstly, one had to be famous among the trillions of races in the universe. Such warriors were rare. Secondly, one had to be a sector lord. If not, those experts from the other races wouldn't have dared to challenge him so easily. They weren't fools. They knew that only when facing against the inheritors of the world overlord would these supreme geniuses feel that they would win for sure. After all, they were already standing at the very peak of the titled immortals. They were all exceptional geniuses. Sector lords came to the inheritance grounds. Luo Feng wasn't the only one in the history of the ancestral god sect. However, they were extremely rare. Of the sector lords, 2 of them were extremely famous. However, they didn't have Luo Feng's willpower that defied the heavens. After this battle, Luo Feng had completely conquered countless inheritors on Circe Island. They were convinced, without any external conditions, fighting in the world of battle, a sector lord was actually able to stand at the peak of the 3 inheritors. They were all convinced. Luo Feng had long been targeted by a few of the absolute powers in the universe. The moment the large-scale battles began, many reports swiftly passed through the inheritors of the various races and returned to their own powers. Kill! 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 A roar that caused the entire starry sky to tremble reverberated through the space that was filled with flames the size of stars. In front of the majestic Heavenly Wolf Palace, the Heavenly Wolf Lord's green eyes were filled with frenzied, killing intent. Human Blade River King cannot be allowed to live. In a void in front of the Sky Wolf Palace, the huge snake figure crawling on the ground trembled in the face of this terrifying, killing intent. His comprehension of the laws is so strong that he ranks at the very top among the 3 inheritors. That's comparable to countless exceptional geniuses of the various races. The Sky Wolf Lord roared. The 3rd inheritance of the Beast God is almost complete. In terms of comprehension of the laws, he's probably very close to becoming a universe lord. As long as he's willing, he can become an immortal at any time. Once he becomes an immortal, with his comprehension that's extremely close to that of a universe lord, plus his many glory points, he'll receive a shocking number of inheritances. Through the ancestral god sect's inheritances, it'll be even easier for him to become a universe lord. When he becomes a universe lord, it'll be even harder to kill him. The Sky Wolf Lord ordered, quickly, make a plan and report it to me. We have to seize the time to kill this human. Yes. The huge snake figure bowed respectfully. Go. The Sky Wolf Lord's green eyes shot out 2 beams of green light that landed on the huge snake figure. That huge snake figure was directly teleported out of this space-time, arriving outside of the space-time controlled by the Sky Wolf Palace. Following which, the huge snake figure directly teleported away. Human. The Sky Wolf Lord stood in front of the Sky Wolf Palace, his green eyes flashing with killing intent. Amongst the universe lords of the demon race, in terms of craftiness and viciousness, the Sky Wolf Lord was definitely ranked at the top. Back then when I saw that Blade River King, a mere sector lord, I didn't think much of him. I didn't expect that, even without the aid of treasures from the outside world, he could still defeat a large number of inheritors in that battle world. And he's just a sector lord. His comprehension of the laws is actually so high. Furthermore, he has a large number of inheritance opportunities. The Skywolf Lord had already treated the Blade River King as a huge threat to the demon race in the future. In the incomparably distant and remote starry sky territory of the universe, in the depths of a universe secret realm, in the void, black ripples spread out in circles. In the center of the endless black ripples, there was a huge pitch-black throne. There were 18 golden alien skulls on the back of the throne. This huge throne was tens of thousands of kilometers tall, and its entire body was made of pitch-black material. If one looked at this black throne with their eyes, it was as if they were looking at an endless sea of blood. The color of blood, condensed to the extreme, was black. The 18 golden skulls embedded on the back of the throne seemed to be constantly emitting ear-piercing soul howls. The throne sat in the center of the endless black ripples that covered the void for hundreds of millions of kilometers. Master. At the end of the black ripples, there was a foreign race expert with a shiny black body and 9 scorpion tails. He was prostrating there, but his voice was transmitted directly into the endless ripples. The Ancestor God Sect's successor has sent news that humans' Blade River King has fought hundreds of thousands of battles. He has already fought 2,781 battles and only lost 19. He is definitely among the top of the immortal inheritors of the various races on Circe Island. I can predict that he will be able to exchange for an astonishing number of inheritance opportunities. The probability of him becoming a universe master in the future is very high. Ha! The black throne let out a soul-piercing laughter. When this laughter rang out, the originally calm space suddenly trembled. Previously, there were only endless black ripples, but now there were black waves, as if there were countless black flood dragons chasing each other in the void. A peerless genius has appeared in the human race, and he will become a peerless expert in the near future. The most anxious ones aren't the prison clan, but the human race's neighbors, the machine clan, the demon clan, and the insect clan. Ha! Just wait and see. The assassination of this peerless genius is about to begin. This human will become a peerless expert through bloodshed and hardships. Or will he die along the way? I'm really looking forward to it. Ha! Go, go. The laughter from the black throne kept echoing in this space. At the end of the black waves, the alien expert with 9 scorpion tails prostrated and then disappeared into thin air. The prison clan was one of the top 6 clans. They were born in a strange and dangerous place in the universe. After surviving that strange and dangerous place with great difficulty, they made their way out. The experts of the prison clan were all different in appearance, and even life essence. Some were rock creatures, and some were flesh and blood creatures. However, the prison clan had one thing in common. They were all born in that strange and dangerous place. They called that strange and terrifying place prison, and their clan was also the prison clan, a group of magnificent palaces made of countless crystals covered an area of several light years. In this group of crystal palaces, planets, stars, neutron stars, and so on were inlaid everywhere like decorations. In the middle of the group of palaces, there was a tall tower. The tower was 2 light years tall, reaching high into the sky. The sharp tip of the tower emitted a dazzling beam of light that shot upwards into the depths of the endless starry sky. Wherever this beam of light passed, any planet or star would be pierced through. Its power lasted for nearly an entire star field before it finally weakened completely. Within the group of palaces lived many strong warriors. In front of the tower, there were 2 universe supremacies standing guard. They had perfect bodies made of crystal, and their heights were nearly identical. Their looks were also perfect and flawless. At the same time, they wore dark green ancient armors that emitted a terrifying pressure. Between their eyebrows, there was a golden eye that emitted a formless ripple that spread out in all directions, monitoring the vast area around the tower. Within the tower, "My lord, this is how it is." The warrior below knelt down, and above the main hall, dressed in a golden long robe, his entire crystal body shone with a faint light. That golden eye between his eyebrows gazed downwards, as though it could pierce through the soul of the universe warrior below. How interesting. The human race wins with numbers. Every single human has great potential. I didn't expect such a genius to be born. Pass down the order. Classify this human Blade River Emperor as a Biho-level alien race. The voice was gentle, yet it had the power to make the warriors trust him. Yes, my lord. The 6 Pinnacle clans, the Space Beast Alliance, the North Border Alliance, and other superpowers all receive the news. Virtual Universe, Thunder Island's highest point, that palace amidst the endless energy currents. An indistinct silhouette stood before the palace, following which he entered and walked to the center, saying respectfully, "Primal Chaos City Leader, the alien races will definitely attempt to assassinate Luo Feng. I don't know how we should deal with it. Please advise us." Assassinate? The Primal Chaos City Leader's voice resounded. "Shadow, why are you so sure?" That blurry silhouette was slightly stunned, saying, "Blade River Emperor has fought over 620,000 battles, and his recent 3,000 battles. Don't tell me you don't know. I've long sent the mail to you. Luo Feng has fought over 620,000 battles." The golden-robed silhouette walked out from the endless air current. It was the Chaos City Master. The Chaos City Master lightly tapped the air, and 3 letters floated down. It was obvious that he didn't read any of the letters sent by the Dark Shadow Emperor. P.S. There will be 5 chapters today. This is the first chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 981. The Primal Chaos City Leader's position within the human race was very high, even within the Great Alliance. Hence, many departments would send emails to him for their reports. However, the importance of the emails was also separated. Only the extremely important ones would the Primal Chaos City Leader immediately read them. Otherwise, he would gather them together and read them. Shadow Emperor was the head of the Virtual Universe Company's intelligence department and also the head of the Great Alliance's intelligence department, an overlord-level being. The news of Luo Feng being the Blade River Emperor was already known by the upper echelons of humanity. Naturally, the Shadow Emperor knew too. What? 3,000 battles. Actually, 2,979 wins and only 21 losses. The Primal Chaos City Leader held the letter. He couldn't help but be shocked. "Yes, City Leader," the Shadow Emperor said respectfully. "I didn't expect him to reach such a level." The Primal Chaos City Leader was indeed shocked. Over 90 million inheritors were at the very top. Their strength was extremely close. Just like Luo Feng's battle with someone close in strength, he would probably win and lose at times. There were no absolutes. Luo Feng's future is limitless. Cold and terrifying, the head of the Great Alliance's intelligence department, the Shadow Emperor, revealed a rare smile. "Ha ha! Over 620,000 battles. With such a winning rate, how many glory points would they earn? Every 100 glory points can be exchanged for a chance to inherit. How many chances to inherit? I'm afraid that the Ancestor God sect will nurture a super expert for the human race." The Chaos City Lord laughed heartily. His laughter reverberated in the hall. No one doubted it. Even the demon race, prison race, and other super forces of the universe believed that if no one hindered the Saber River King's growth, he would definitely become a super powerhouse of the human race in the future, a terrifying existence. At most, it would take some time. Hence, he had to be killed before he truly grew strong. City Leader, with Luo Feng's win rate. 1 is to earn a huge amount of glory points and inheritance chances. 2 is to show that he is already extremely strong. His comprehension of the origin laws is extremely high. The Shadow Emperor bowed slightly. Without a doubt, the Bug Clan, Demon Clan, and Automaton Clan, these 3 pinnacle races are definitely getting anxious. Once Luo Feng becomes a Universe Knight, then it'll be hard for them to assassinate him again. There will definitely be assassinations soon. City Leader, how should we deal with them? Assassinations? The Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. The Demon Clan, Bug Clan, and Automaton Clan have all sorts of techniques. However, My disciple is currently in the ancestral god sect's important grounds, causing them to be unable to use any of their techniques. He could only order a few powerful inheritors to kill him. This is their only option. Yes, the Shadow Monarch nodded. The important grounds of the ancestral god sect were not to be barged in. The Demon Clan and the other Pinnacle clans would rather let Luo Feng become an absolute warrior than send an absolute being to barge into the important grounds of the ancestral god sect. The consequences would be dire. Leave this to me. You must trust my disciple, the Primal Chaos City Master said. The Shadow Monarch bowed slightly. Then I will take my leave. Go. The Primal Chaos City leader nodded. Shadow Emperor. The reason why he was able to become the head of the Great Alliance's information department was mainly because he was from the Virtual Universe Company. Because the Virtual Universe had a terrifying ability to spread information, even the other pinnacle races in the universe spared no expense in planting spies and secret communication methods. Even though they were often broken through and sacrificed a lot, the other races still did it. Hence, when it came to information, as the head of the Virtual Universe Company's information department, he easily became the head of Great Alliance's information department. His power was not inferior to some of the other Hall Masters in the Hall Alliance. The insect race, the demon race, and the mechanical race were no longer watching. Clearly, the insect race, who had already started planning, was the first to arrange everything within the virtual world set up by the insect race. Amidst the boundless clouds, on a beautiful floating island, there were many beautiful bug tribe queen mothers with butterfly-like wings, bodies that were as fair and translucent as if they were made of crystal, and they were as soft as water. All of them were extremely beautiful, and a single look from them could make other living beings' hearts ache, as if they wanted to protect them. Look, it's a foreign race. It's the Kong race of our bug race alliance. The Queen Mother stared at that figure. It was a foreign race expert with a mask on his face and an ancient black armor. This expert from the Kong race soon arrived at the center of the floating island, where there was a palace carved out of wood. The palace doors opened. The Kong race warrior stepped into the palace. The guards didn't stop him. Kong race, Jiuguang greets the Universe Lord. This masked foreign race expert was bowing in the wooden hall, and on the wooden throne in the hall sat a peerless beauty that could mesmerize even the souls of experts. Her entire body was shrouded in a hazy, colorful mist. Supremacy, Jiuguang, I need you to do something. Do you understand? Her voice was clear and melodious. I understand. Supremacy, Jiuguang replied respectfully. What do you need to say? Asked the being on the wooden throne. The Universe Lord chose me because I'm an inheritor and because my progress in the Beast God Tao has been slow. I've already given up on the Beast God Tao, and I'm preparing to walk the path of space and time. Thirdly, I have cloning techniques. Fourthly, as a member of the Kong race, I'm naturally skilled in the Tao of soul control. Supremacy, Jiuguang said, the price I have to pay to assassinate that human Saber River King is the lowest, right? Looking at the entire Bug Race Alliance, you're the most suitable. From the perspective of the entire alliance, it's best if you go. But to you, the price you'll have to pay is enormous. After losing a universe venerable avatar, just the huge amount of god power needed to restore another avatar was a huge price to pay. Furthermore, you'll never be able to return to the ancestral god sect, and you'll lose the chance to receive the inheritance. Supremacy, Jiuguang stood there respectfully and listened. The Alliance will compensate you for your losses, said the beautiful figure. What do you think about the assassination? According to what Supremacy Jiuguang knows, the human Saber River King is currently accepting challenges, which is why he's staying in his mansion, Supremacy Jiuguang said respectfully. The Universe Lord also knows that every palace on Circe Island is the territory of an inheritor. It's the only place an inheritor has absolute control over. Other inheritors are forbidden from trespassing. Anyone who trespasses will be attacked by the Rainbow Aurora Lake and instantly annihilated. Thus, I can't trespass. I can only wait for that human to come out. As for luring him out, from a human's point of view, luring him out isn't very suitable. The stupidest method is also the best method. It's to quietly wait for him to come out of his mansion, Supremacy Jueguang said respectfully. In the main hall, the beautiful figure looked down at Supremacy Jueguang with a smile that caused the entire world to pale. You're very calm. I need to remind you that it's best if you can use your soul to control that Saber River King. Once his soul is controlled, it's impossible for humans to reverse space-time and resurrect him. Of course, if you can't control his soul, just kill him. This human Saber River King must have had a very special encounter. The more special the encounter, the greater the price you have to pay to reverse space-time and resurrect him. The beautiful figure's voice seemed to resound in Supremacy Jueguang's mind. Saber River King is so special. The price to resurrect him is probably even higher than that of an ordinary supremacy. Perhaps the price to resurrect him is comparable to that of an overlord of the universe. Soul control is the first choice. Kill is the second choice. Go. Yes, Supremacy Jueguang replied respectfully. Circus Island. Reverend Sense Light strolled forward. The other inheritors gave way, showing a certain amount of respect to the universe Reverend. This was very common, and this caused Reverend Sense Light's eyes to flash with a hint of joy. However, when he saw the distant Jiangnan garden-style mansion next to the river, he frowned. Supremacy. I'm a supremacy of a universe. But in the eyes of my race, in the eyes of the Insect Race Alliance, I'm far less of a threat than that realm lord human. I assassinated the Saber River King, and then I was annihilated by the five-colored Aurora Lake. The most terrifying thing is that I have to be more secretive in the future or stay in the insect race territory. Otherwise, if I'm discovered by the human race, the super beings of the human race will probably kill me to avenge their peerless genius. Ridiculous. Supremacy Jueguang felt a wave of sorrow, but he was powerless to resist. Even his race couldn't resist the orders of the insect race, let alone a supremacy of the universe. Perhaps in terms of individual strength, he was definitely in existence that could dominate the universe. But compared to the peak existences of the universe, he was very weak. He could only obey orders. 2 days later, kill him and sacrifice me? The demon race's lord promised to reverse space-time and resurrect me? But even if I resurrect, I won't have the chance to inherit the beast god Tao, and I'll be on the human race's kill list. A mud-like beast stood at the peak of a distant mountain, looking down. It seemed to hear the roar of the demon race's lord. Kill him. The automaton race, demon race, and bug race all sent out their warriors. However, they were all foreign race knights, not from their own races. Even so, they had to pay a price to the foreign races. If they were too tyrannical and bullied the foreign races, the alliance would have crumbled long ago. Time passed. 1,000 battles a day. Luo Feng continued to battle regularly. In the demon race, bug race, and automaton race were all waiting for good news. They knew the humans would guess that they would try to assassinate them and make preparations. However, from their point of view, unless the Blade River Emperor was always hiding within his mansion or had a knight protecting him the moment he left, there would always be a chance. Rumble. Within the battle world, in the air above the already ruined concrete and bustling city, Luo Feng was dressed in black armor and boots. On his back was a pair of black wings. With a wave of his left hand, 600 gold pearls flew back to him. All battles have ended. Luo Feng looked at the distant god energy ripples and said softly, close to 2 years, over 620,000 battles had all ended. P.S. Chapter 2 has arrived. Work hard, work hard. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 982. Today was the third day. There were many inheritors' palaces on the island. About a few thousand km away from Luo Feng's residence, there was an ancient residence that looked like a withered tree. That was the residence of one of the emperor inheritors of the Bug Clan Alliance. However, at the top floor of the residence, there was a universe knight standing there quietly. The Alliance has orders. I'll be staying here for now. News of this cannot be leaked. Zhiguang the knight looked at the inheritor beside him and communicated. Yes. The inheritor replied respectfully, Knight, I'll be in my study room. If you have any matters, just tell me. HM, go ahead. Zhiguang the knight nodded. The inheritor left, leaving only Zhiguang the knight on the top floor. He sat crossed-legged and gazed past the railing, looking at the distant empty space in front of the Blade River Emperor's residence. The Bug Clan Alliance has close to 10,000 inheritors on the island. From their residences, I can easily see the Blade River Emperor's residence. There are at least 10 of them, Zhiguang the knight thought. I can only monitor like this. The moment the Blade River Emperor comes out, he won't be able to escape my sight. Today, Blade River Emperor's battle will end. There's a high chance he will come out. Zhiguang the knight watched quietly. There were a total of 626,183 inheritors like Luo Feng. Back when Luo Feng only battled for a few days, the various organizations quickly confirmed this number. And according to the rate at which Blade River Emperor battled 1,000 battles each time, today would be the day the Blade River Emperor's battle would end. Zhiguang the knight's consciousness connected to the glory world and looked at the black book, looking at Luo Feng's battle records changing. There's still the last 32 battles. Zhiguang the knight thought of the terrifying battle records in the black book and couldn't help but tremble. Such a huge amount of glory points was unbelievable. He couldn't help but feel jealous. Before Blade River Emperor, no matter how strong he was, he wouldn't have been able to acquire so many glory points. Because other warriors knew you were strong, unless you were confident, they wouldn't challenge you. If I had that many glory points, I'd even have hope of becoming a universe overlord. Zhiguang the knight thought. The battles have all ended. Zhiguang the knight's eyes gleamed, staring even harder at Luo Feng's residence. Apart from the machine race, the insect race, and the demon race, there were also powerhouses from other superpowers watching quietly. They did not interfere, but they did not mind watching a huge battle. Those forces had long since guessed that the humans had produced a Blade River King, and the neighboring 3 Great Peak clans would definitely not watch the Blade River King grow. Let's see who is more ruthless. He waited silently. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, Venerable Zhiguang and the other 2 venerables who were hiding in the Saber River King's mansion could easily see it, as well as the powerhouses of other forces. They were all very patient. Maybe the Blade River King is tired after fighting for so long. He will probably come out soon. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. This caused the universe's venerables and king inheritors to be speechless. Does the Blade River King plan to stay in his mansion on Circus Island forever? But in any case, he still had to accept the inheritance. To accept the inheritance, he had to go to the inheritance passageway in front of the Island Lord's palace. He definitely has to leave the mansion. The other races were suspicious, but the truth was that Luo Feng never came out. Virtual Universe, Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay. These few days, Luo Feng did not do much, just spending time with his family. During his training, he was crazy and stubborn, but he couldn't forget about his family. Luo Feng admitted he already owed his family a lot. Dad, you don't know, this time my brother met with trouble in the universe. He pierced through the heavens. However, what's amazing is that the Ganwu Dojo's strongest being, the Ganwu country leader, personally came out to protect him. Luo Ping laughed loudly. Beside him, Su Xian couldn't help but say, Luo Feng, control your son. He has indeed pierced through the heavens this time. What's wrong? Luo Feng looked curiously at his son, Luo Hai. Nothing much. I don't like to reveal my identity everywhere I go. I want to rely on my own strength. After that, I offended an enemy. Luo Hai curled his lips. That scum, he's very arrogant. Having an emperor undying as a teacher is already impressive. My dad is even a disciple of the primal chaos city leader. Why should I be afraid of him? Hence the big fight. Luo Feng laughed. With strength, what does that scum amount to? He's not even a match for me. Luo Hai nodded. I didn't expect that Emperor Undying to appear at the very end. In a fit of rage, he directly attacked us. The plant life I brought with me was far from being a match for him. Because I was adventuring with my brothers from the Ganwu dojo, the news of our fight with that scum had long reached the Ganwu dojo. I didn't expect the Ganwu country leader to personally appear. Luckily, he appeared and protected us. Luo Feng was shocked. His son actually offended an emperor on dying? Over 10,000 years, this was the first time his son had offended such a strong warrior. Be more vigilant in the future, Luo Feng said. Since his son Luo Hai was following his own path, wanting to walk the path of a strong warrior, meeting some dangers and setbacks was very normal. The only thing he could do was to be vigilant. Luo Feng, the Ganwu country leader, has indeed treated our Luo family well. A few years ago, he personally appeared to save Luo Hai once. Just a year ago, he even bestowed a large piece of land to our Luo family, a total of 12 starfields. Su Xin said, and even our home Black Dragon Mountain starfield and the surrounding 12 starfields were personally arranged by the Ganwu Empire's imperial family to compensate for their debts to the imperial family of the 12 starfields. A year ago, Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. At that time, he was battling with over 620,000 inheritors and was in the middle of it all. The Ganwu Country Leaders Information Network seems to be quite fast, Luo Feng thought. This Ganwu Country leader was impressive too. He didn't even come to see Luo Feng, but instead quietly helped the Luo family time and time again. He even personally saved Luo Feng's son, Luo Hai. Thinking about it, it was obvious that the Ganwu country leader wouldn't know about such a small matter. Obviously, the Ganwu country leader definitely had instructions for Luo Hai's news to be sent directly to him. Only then would the Ganwu country leader rush over. Ganwu country leader, this favor, I'll remember it, Luo Feng thought. It had already been 9 days since Luo Feng's battle ended. The foreign race warriors on Cirrus Island, who already had intentions, were all extremely patient. Even though they were anxiously cursing within, they still waited. Within a waterfront pavilion within the mansion, Luo Feng, however, was filled with pride. Holding a wine glass, he muttered to himself, 621,081 wins, 5,102 losses, over 610,000 glory points. 100 glory points can exchange for a chance to inherit. Ha! These foreign inheritors originally wanted to trample on me. Who knew I would take the opportunity to earn so much from them? And in the 620,000 battles, my opponents were all absolute geniuses. Without a doubt, there were only 6 that were stronger than me. Even though many of the others beat me by luck, there was still luck involved. Just like how I was lucky enough to beat the other inheritors. Luo Feng thought. Just based on the points rankings, Luo Feng was currently number 1. After all, 621,081 wins, that was simply too much. The number 2 only had 9,822 wins, not even 10,000. Of course, the number 2 had 9,822 wins and 3 losses. In terms of winning percentage, it far exceeded Luo Feng. Overall, there were a total of 9 extremely strong ones in the 3 inheritance rankings belonging to the pinnacle. This time, there were 6 that battled Luo Feng. There were close to 10,000 that belonged to the pinnacle, similar to Luo Feng. After so many battles, it's allowed me to comprehend more about the path of the beast god. However, I'm not in a hurry to accept the inheritance. After all, it's only been 2 years since the last inheritance. I have to focus on studying and digesting all the experiences I've gained from the 620,000 battles. After that, I'll study it carefully and then accept the inheritance. I'll take the opportunity to comprehend the 3rd inheritance in one go. After that, I can look for a special life form that's suitable for the 3rd clone. Luo Feng already had a detailed plan. He didn't dare to slack off. The path of the strong could not be slacked off. Luo Feng didn't hesitate. He immediately sat cross-legged in the waterfront pavilion and began to study the path of the beast god. On Cirrus Island, Jiguang the Honorable and the other 2 honorables were waiting anxiously. As for the inheritors of the foreign races who were prepared to watch the show, they had long since given up. Many of them were cursing, "Damn human, he's so cowardly. He's been hiding in his mansion all this time. I don't believe that he won't go to the inheritance ground just because he has a huge amount of glory points. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, and Zhiguang the Honorable, who had been staying in another inheritor's mansion, had been watching Luo Feng's mansion with bated breath. He had been watching for a total of 3 years, cursing the human within. As he began to train, he only split a bit of his consciousness to watch. He didn't even have the mood to scold the human anymore. Later on, Zhiguang the Honorable flipped his hand and took out an AI robot. He let it help him watch. He couldn't be bothered to watch anymore. Just wait. You'll have to accept the inheritance one day. Zhiguang the Honorable had no more temper left. In the blink of an eye, 900 years had passed. Ha ha ha. 900 years of comprehension. Especially those 620,000 battles. They've been very beneficial to me. Constantly imprinting, my improvements in the origin laws are shocking. My beast god path isn't too far from the 3rd level. My beast god state has improved quite a bit too. Luo Feng was filled with glee. And my comprehension of the space laws has improved as well. Luo Feng's training was originally a fusion of space and gold. In terms of comprehension and fusion, he naturally had a deeper understanding of space. Drawing inferences from one instance, his space aspect had improved quite a bit too. My earth body and the golden horned beast can both teleport now. However, I still have to comprehend the other 2 major aspects of the law of space. Luo Feng suddenly stood up. It's time to go out. If I go receive the inheritance now, I believe I'll definitely be able to complete my 3rd chapter in one go. Luo Feng looked at the distant door of his mansion. After a while, creak. In the silence, Luo Feng opened the door to the mansion, smiling as he walked out. At this time, not a single inheritor was staring at Luo Feng's residence. Even the 3 universe knights were either AI robots or servants. Master, the door is open. Master, Blade River King is out. Master. In the 3 mansions on Circe Island, the 3 universe venerables woke up with a start. There were also some foreign race inheritors who had sent out servants or AIs to keep an eye on him. They instantly knew that Saber River King had left the mansion. P.S. This is the 3rd chapter. Tomato. Continue writing the 4th chapter. Work hard. Everyone, give your votes to Tomato Power. Asterisk. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 983. Hearing the anxious shouts of the AI servant beside him, Zhiguang opened his eyes and looked over, only to see Luo Feng just stepping out of the door. Human, Blade River Emperor. Zhiguang's eyes gleamed fiercely, his killing intent reaching an extreme. He had waited 900 years just for this moment, sacrificing a universe knight like me, just for a sector lord like you. You should be proud. Blade River Emperor. Zhiguang immediately vanished. Like the North Border Alliance, Prison Clan Alliance, 9 Regions Alliance, etc., the higher-ups had ordered to gather information. All of them were in their own residences, staring hard at the Blade River Emperor's residence. The orders were very clear. The Demon, Automaton, and Bug Clan would definitely send assassins to deal with the human Blade River Emperor. Will the Blade River Emperor die? Or the Automaton and the other 3 races suffer? What methods will they use to kill the Blade River Emperor? The over 10,000 inheritors who were secretly watching all held their breaths. Luo Feng smiled as he walked out of the residence. Casually waving his sleeves, the door closed. Without any warning, a huge silhouette appeared before Luo Feng. It was a beast almost covered in mud. Its normally dull gray eyes seemed to be filled with terrifying killing intent. Rumble, this beast didn't hesitate to pounce at Luo Feng. Its speed was extremely fast. At the same time, its body exploded with an energy that caused the surrounding land and skies to tremble. Its energy rose by 1,000 times. Its body was already burning. Zhiguang, the moment he teleported, he discovered the mud-covered beast. He was immediately shocked. Swamp Corrosion Knight? However, his reaction was extremely fast. immediately retreating a step and dodging over 1,000 kilometers away. That swamp corrosion knight actually wants to kill the Blade River Emperor too? Jiguang was shocked within. Let me watch first. I only teleported not far from the Blade River Emperor. It was just a teleportation. I didn't even attack. That 5-color extreme light lake wouldn't confirm that I want to kill Luo Feng. I'll watch first. Luo Feng had just closed the door to his residence when he was attacked by Swamp Corrosion Knight, burning his body. Killing Wu Yu. Luo Feng fiercely spread his wings. He originally didn't have any wings on his back, but now they grew out of thin air, immediately dodging. Rumble. A wave of God energy immediately drilled into Luo Feng's mind. Under the burning of his God energy, this energy tried to forcefully control Luo Feng. You want to control me as your slave? Dream on. Luo Feng's willpower was incomparably firm. Under the invasion of the godly energy, it was unable to tempt his soul at all. He could only use forceful methods. Weng. The pearl sat within the beast god's soul. With a slight tremble, it blocked the godly energy's invasion. Swamp Corrosion Knight, who had already arrived before Luo Feng, his eyes flashed with shock. He seemed to be very surprised that he could not control this human Blade River King. He was a universe supremacy, yet he couldn't control it even after burning his divine power. Boom! The peaceful Aurora Lake over Cirrus Island suddenly began to shake, and at the same time, many auroras swooped down. However, Swamp Corrosion Knight was already right in front of Luo Feng, and even burning his god body. How fast was he? He didn't even look at the terrifying 5-colored aurora. Die! Venerable Swamp Erosion opened his mouth. Voila! A huge tongue covered in mud and water, like a curtain covering the sky and land, enveloped Luo Feng. This was one of his natural talents. His tongue had terrifying corrosive power. Even a universe supremacy of the same level wouldn't be able to withstand the corrosive power of his tongue. Luo Feng's Wu-killing wings was fast, but how could it compare to the attack speed of a universe supremacy that was burning his god body? The frog spat out its tongue, fast as lightning. Swamp Corrosion Knight spat out his huge tongue. Just as Luo Feng moved, he was already wrapped up. Oomph! Luo Feng looked coldly at the Swamp Corrosion Knight as he was about to be wrapped up. Swamp Corrosion Knight didn't care. The moment the huge tongue enveloped Luo Feng, that terrifying corrosive power worked on Wu-killing wings, yet couldn't corrode at all. Instead, the armor on Luo Feng's body was instantly corroded, and other than that, the tongue was like a stick made of wet cloth lashing. The tongue was like a curtain, fiercely lashing down. The corrosive power hadn't killed Luo Feng yet, but the impact of the lashing from the tongue was terrifying. That was the power of a universe supremacy burning his god energy. Rumble. No matter how strong his defense was, Luo Feng was completely destroyed in an instant. His physical body was completely destroyed by this terrifying force, leaving behind only the broken armor, the intact wings, the tower pearl, the star map, a drop of the general soul water droplet, the sturdy world ring, and a few other items. Wah, 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 wah. The 5-colored lights swiftly descended, like beams of light arrows. Even the surrounding space was completely locked down. Even if Swamp Corrosion Knight wanted to teleport and escape, he wouldn't be able to. This was the range of the Rainbow Lake. Ha ha! Supremacy Swamp Erosion raised his head and roared crazily. His eyes were fixed on the 5-colored auroras that were descending from the sky. It was not a shameful death to die under the ancestral god sect's supreme treasure. The lights were originally over 10,000 kilometers long. However, as they descended, they shrunk, finally becoming as thick as arrows. Chi, 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 chi. Many of the lights immediately pierced through Swamp Corrosion Knight's body, just like 10,000 arrows piercing through him. His body was like a bubble, immediately disappearing a large portion, following which in the blink of an eye, even the last bit of his body was completely destroyed. And the 5-colored lights once again flew high up into the sky, flying high up into the sky, back into the countless lights. Everything returned to normal. The five colored lights in the sky above Bauhinia Island continued to fly calmly. And at the entrance of Luo Feng's mansion, even the damaged ground was instantly restored, without any damage. This was just like the snow in the ice prison that could constantly be restored. He's dead. Zhuguang Knight watched from afar. The power of the five colored lights was too terrifying. Just one beam of light was enough to instantly destroy a universe knight who had ignited his body. The five-colored lake's aurora was almost limitless. It was known as one of the strongest treasures in the universe, and it was also the ancestral god sect protection treasure. The five-colored lake's power was indeed incomparably terrifying. Zhuguang Knight rejoiced, felt fear and regret. It was extremely complicated. No matter what, Blade River Emperor is dead. Report to the Bug Clan. Zhuguang Knight thought. Blade River Emperor is actually dead. He died just like that, completely annihilated into nothingness. He couldn't be more dead. The inheritors watching from afar were a little stunned, following which they immediately began to transmit the news to their own forces. In the starry sky, in the space-time enveloped by the endless power of the flames, the Sky Wolf Lord of the Sky Wolf Palace received the news almost at the same time. Haha, Swamp Corrosion Knight actually killed Blade River Emperor. Haha, dead. That despicable little guy is dead. I wonder if Swamp Corrosion Knight's soul controlled Blade River Emperor before he died. Whether or not his soul was controlled, the goal was achieved. Haha, didn't the Primal Chaos City Lord protect that human? What a pity. This is the core area of the ancestral god sect. Even if he is the Primal Chaos City Lord, he wouldn't dare to trespass. The Sky Wolf Lord stood in front of the Sky Wolf Palace, raised his head, and let out a roar that shook the space-time. He was extremely happy. He was happy from destroying the human peerless genius, and also from taking revenge on the Primal Chaos City Lord. On Circeus Island, a blur of silhouettes broke through the skies. The inheritors from the various races of the universe all left their residences. Just how terrifying was the energy ripple from Swamp Corrosion Knight's burning of his god energy. The five-colored light lake shone with beams of light, causing the entire space to tremble. Everyone realized something was wrong. What's going on? Seven Sword Emperors seemed to feel the terrifying ripple from the universe knight's burning of his god energy. They fiercely broke through the skies, simultaneously teleporting to a place not far from Luo Feng's residence. At this time, Swamp Corrosion Knight's tongue had already enveloped Luo Feng. Hence the Seven Sword Emperors didn't see Luo Feng. He saw with his own eyes the beams of light descend and kill Swamp Corrosion Knight. Who did Swamp Corrosion Knight kill? He actually caused the five-colored light lake to descend. Seven Sword Emperors were suspicious. Seven Sword Emperors. Seven Sword Emperors. Chimin Emperor, Li Shua Emperor, and Xinyu Emperor all teleported to his side. Who died? Who did the five-colored light kill? The three of them were even slower than the Seven Sword Emperors. They didn't even see Swamp Corrosion Knight fall. It's Swamp Corrosion Knight. I don't know who killed him. Ah? The Seven Sword Emperor's eyes stared wide, shocked at the items left behind in front of the mansion. Those were the items left behind by the Swamp Corrosion Knight and Luo Feng, of which the Swamp Corrosion Knight knew he was going to die. Hence the treasures were left behind long ago. Luo Feng, however, left behind many treasures. The most glaring was definitely that huge silver feather. One had to know that the Blade River Emperor was most famous for his wings. It was even rumored that his wings were treasures. Wings. It's the Blade River Emperor. Seven Sword Emperors were stunned. He had already made the Blade River Emperor his goal to surpass. He didn't expect the Blade River Emperor to actually. The Blade River Emperor is dead. The Blade River Emperor was killed by Swamp Corrosion Knight. In the distance, the excited discussions of the other races resounded. That Sector Lord, the absolute genius whose name was known throughout the universe, the one who had just entered the inheritance grounds, fought over 620,000 battles and earned a huge amount of glory points, causing countless inheritors to be envious of him, an absolute genius of humanity, had died just like that. The shock this brought to the countless foreign race inheritors was huge. That's the feather left behind by the Blade River Emperor after he died. The feather treasure. That feather is a treasure. Many of the other inheritors who had just found out that the Blade River Emperor had been killed were still in a daze. However, following that, they heard countless exclamations of shock. Even many of the Universe Knights who were watching from afar were staring hard at the items placed in front of Luo Feng's residence, especially the huge silver feather. The temptation of treasures was extremely terrifying. P.S. Chapter 4 has ended. Tomato continues writing Chapter 5. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 984. That's a treasure. If I can get it, it'll be worth it even if I don't come back to the inheritance grounds. The numerous inheritors hovering in the air, as well as the venerables of the universe, all stared at the most eye-catching silver wings in front of the mansion, all of them eager to make a move. Creak! The closed door of Luo Feng's mansion opened again. This shocked the inheritors in the distance. Wasn't the Blade River King dead? How could his mansion's door open from the inside? Dressed in green armor, and with a body that looked like it was carved out of a diamond, stood there. It was Luo Feng's servant, Heart-Refining Monarch. Inheritors, Heart-Refining Monarch said loudly, "The Blade River King is not dead. Don't touch his treasures. Once you touch it, it's the same as snatching Saber River King's treasure." I believe that all of you are more aware of the rules of the Ancestral Gods sect than I am. The five-colored Aurora Lake is there to protect every inheritor. Whoever dares to kill another inheritor will be annihilated. Snatching another inheritor's treasure is naturally the same as attacking and killing, and you will also be annihilated. Tens of millions of inheritors covered the sky and looked at Heart-Refining Monarch, who didn't dare to take a step out of the garden's entrance. The Blade River King is not dead? How do you know he's not dead? A monster inheritor's voice rumbled. Who are you? I've never seen you on Circus Island. I'm Blade River King's sole slave. I never dare to step out of the mansion. If my master died, I would die too. Now that I'm not dead, my master is naturally still alive. The Heart Refinement Monarch said, "No one here is allowed to touch it. As long as it's not my master, any other expert who touches this treasure will be deemed as stealing the inheritor's treasure and will be killed by the five-colored Aurora Lake." Heart-Refining Monarch's voice reverberated above Circus Island. For a moment, the tens of millions of inheritors hesitated. If they stole treasures from a living inheritor, they would naturally be killed. However, if an inheritor was already dead, then his treasures would be ownerless and could be taken away. Whoosh! One of them pounced towards the silver wings. Riches are sought in danger. I'm stuck at the last step, unable to achieve anything even after millions of years. I might as well take a gamble. I watched helplessly as the Saber River King was annihilated, completely annihilated. How could I easily believe this fellow who came out of nowhere? As long as that Saber River King really dies, I can obtain this supreme treasure wing. I'm an inheritor. The other inheritors wouldn't dare to attack me. I'll be able to turn things around. Just the value of this supreme treasure alone would allow me to exchange for many resources and treasures with my clan. Who knows, I might even be able to break through and become a universe paragon in one go. A black stream of light flashed and arrived in front of the mansion. Don't! Heart Refinement Monarch shouted. Not good. He got ahead of us. Some of the greedy and hesitant successors were vexed, but they didn't dare to try to snatch it away. It's mine. The black figure grabbed the silver feather. The moment his sharp claws touched the silver feather, the black figure's body trembled. An invisible force instantly froze the surrounding space, just like how it prevented Lord Swamp Corrosion from escaping before. It was the same this time. No. The black figure sensed that the spatial fluctuations had been locked and immediately let out a shrill cry. He couldn't accept this. If he died this time, all his treasures would be gone. Even if his clan resurrected him in the future, he would lose the treasures he had accumulated over the years, and he would also lose the opportunity to inherit. It would be difficult for him to break through now, and even if he was resurrected in the future, it would be even more painful. Whoosh! A single ray of light fell from the sky at high speed. The black figure flung off the silver feather in his hand and flew away, trying to escape. Chi! The aurora pierced through his divine body, creating a hole. Then, his divine body vanished like a bubble. The aurora then flew back to the sky, returning to the endless five-colored aurora. Silence. The entire Cirrus Island was silent. Dead? Tens of millions of inheritors in the sky were shocked. They were all peerless geniuses of their clans, and they were extremely confident. How could they easily believe Heart Refinement Monarch's words? However, when they saw an inheritor being killed by the colorful aurora because he touched the silver feather, they instantly understood one thing. The Saber River King was still alive. The Saber River King is still alive? Venerable Jueguang looked down from the sky, his eyes full of shock and disbelief. He was completely annihilated. How could he still be alive? Could it be that he has a doppelganger technique? Doppelganger techniques were very rare in the universe. There were many ways to create a doppelganger, but the strength and aura of the doppelganger were obviously different. As a venerable, Jueguang could easily see through it. Obviously, the one who had been killed was not a doppelganger, but the real Saber River King. Doppelganger technique? How could a human have doppelganger technique? I am the holy son of the Kong clan, so I could doppelganger technique. Venerable Jueguang couldn't believe it. He's still alive? What should I do? Venerable Jueguang was very anxious. Tens of millions of inheritors in the sky above the Cirrus Island were very noisy. They were all shocked and looked at the treasures on the ground, but no one dared to touch them. Suddenly, a powerful pressure descended. A flood dragon-like figure covered an area of over 10,000 kilometers. Its huge wings spread out, and the dragon's head stretched out, looking down. Instantly, the tens of millions of legatees descended and bowed respectfully. Island Lord. It was the Island Lord of the Cirrus Island, the Beast God Protector. A universe venerable came to assassinate the Saber River King. Humph! He dared to try to assassinate the Saber River King in the Ancestor God Sex territory. He should die forever for defying the Ancestor God Sex order. The Beast God Protector's voice rumbled. Even if Venerable Swamp Corrosion is resurrected by reversing time and space, the Ancestor God Sect will hunt him down. The endless pressure made the millions of inheritors pale. It was too cruel. After reversing time and space, Venerable Swamp Corrosion would be hunted down by the Ancestor God Sect. The Beast God Protector had said this publicly, so it must represent the opinion of the Ancestor God Sect's higher-ups. This made countless inheritors tremble. Fortunately, hearing this, Venerable Jueguang was also scared. There's actually another inheritor who wants to steal the Saber River King's item. The Beast God gazed below. Its dragon head's eyes were extremely cold. The Saber River King's inheritance tablet hasn't even shattered. Naturally, he's still alive. Our Ancestor God Sect's rules are relaxed, but the moment it's set, there's no room for challenge. To steal an inheritor's item, his death is expected. At the same time, the Beast God descended. Within Luo Feng's residence, within one of the pavilions, there was a praying mat. That praying mat was formed from the Masha clansmen. Within it was a world ring. Within the world ring was Luo Feng's core. Within the internal world, within the vast internal world, high above the core, a naked black-haired youth's body was condensed. Ha! I succeeded again. I didn't expect those foreign races to actually try to assassinate me the moment I left. Using a Universe Knight's life to kill me, they really gave me face. It's a pity that they didn't manage to kill me. They only wasted some of my energy. Luo Feng's body immediately condensed a battle armor. This time he had fought over 620,000 battles consecutively. The news of the foreign races trying to assassinate him had spread like wildfire. Even the other inheritors had guessed it. How could Luo Feng not? However, he was very confident. With his clone's ability, as long as he left his core in the safest residence, what was there to worry about? Even if his earth body was destroyed, he could revive. Furthermore, since his soul was not truly dead, the token of inheritance would not shatter, and the five-colored Aurora Lake would also recognize that he was still alive. In that case, no one else could touch his treasure, or they would be attacked by the five-colored Aurora Lake and die. Since that was the case, what was there to fear? Luo Feng had walked out openly earlier. He wanted to see what the foreign races were up to. With the pearl protecting his soul, he wasn't afraid of soul control. What else could the foreign races do? However, there was another knight that suddenly appeared. It was just that he realized another knight had already made his move, hence he retreated. Luo Feng shook his head. It's a pity, after this battle, he probably won't dare to make a move against me. He's very clear that it's useless, and he'll have to pay with his life. So, Luo Feng left the internal world and entered the pavilion. Under the pressure of the guardian beast, the tens of millions of inheritors who were silent suddenly saw the silver wings and the other treasures left behind by the Blade River Emperor, all flying towards the residence. These treasures were all trained by Luo Feng. The moment he appeared, he could easily summon them. The reason why he didn't let the Masha clansmen summon them was because the Masha clansmen couldn't summon the armor and soul. The armor was something only flesh and blood life forms could use. The soul was something only Earth Soul could use. Of course, the Golden Horned Beast could summon it too. It was just that the Golden Horned Beast was too huge. The moment it left the internal world, it would definitely fill the skies. The tens of millions of inheritors all looked at the residence. Why did the treasures fly in? The Blade River Emperor didn't die. Those were all trained by him. Of course, he could summon them over. However, he was clearly killed earlier. The tens of millions of Emperor Undyings and large amounts of knights were all staring. Even the 7 Blade Emperors were staring hard at Luo Feng's residence. Heart Refiner Emperor, who hadn't dared to step out of the entrance, bowed respectfully. Master! A silhouette had already walked out of the entrance. It was a human youth dressed in silver armor and silver boots, and the Wu Sha wings were spread open. It was the Blade River Emperor who had clearly died earlier. It's him, Blade River Emperor. He's actually completely fine. Does he have the legendary natural talent cloning technique? The various inheritors of the universe were all shocked as they watched Luo Feng walk out of the entrance. He bowed to the beast god in mid-air. Island leader. HM. The guardian beast god gazed below and replied. They had personally witnessed the Blade River Emperor's death, and now seeing this, Zhiguang the Knight and the other warriors who wanted Luo Feng dead couldn't help but shiver. They knew that killing the Blade River Emperor was 100 or even 1,000 times harder than they had imagined. Like the 7 Blade Emperors, Chaoman Emperor, and the other human warriors, along with countless inheritors, they all believed that the Blade River Emperor was even more mysterious and not to be messed with. P.S. 5 chapters completed. Tomato did what he said. However, he couldn't get up tomorrow morning, hence he told him beforehand that the next update would be delayed tonight. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 985. All of you disperse. The guardian beast god floated above the island and gazed below, his voice resounding throughout the island. Remember, Blade River Emperor is the inheritor of the ancestral god sect. Anyone who assassinates him will be hunted down by the sect. Yes, countless inheritors bowed, after which the guardian beast god vanished from mid-air. The inheritors who were holding their breaths finally let out a sigh of relief. What's going on? Didn't that swamp corrosion knight just assassinate Blade River Emperor? In the history of the ancestral god sect, there have been fights between the inheritors before, however they've never specially hunted him down before. Even after Swamp Corrosion Knight revives in time and space, he's still being hunted down. This is simply, stupid punk, you don't even understand? Obviously the ancestral god sect treats the Blade River Emperor specially. Haven't you all seen how biased they are towards Bug Emperor? And now, they're even favoring Blade River Emperor. Blade River Emperor. Will he be the second Bug Emperor? With his potential. Once he becomes a true Undying, he won't be any weaker than Bug Emperor. Woo, no wonder the ancestral god sect treats him specially. The inheritors of the various races of the universe chatted amongst themselves. They all became beams of light and flew away. To the majority of them, this was just a show. Only the inheritors who were truly in charge of the orders of the races were troubled. How do we kill him? There's no way to kill him. Jiguang Knight looked at Luo Feng standing at the entrance of the mansion, his thoughts in turmoil. Suddenly, Luo Feng looked up and grinned at him, almost as though saying, "Come and kill me." Humph! Jiguang Knight knew this human had guessed he was a killer. Without further ado, he immediately teleported and vanished. Luo Feng stood at the entrance of the mansion, watching the countless inheritors leave. Within he was filled with many thoughts. Before, the guardian beast god publicly announced that even if Swamp Corrosion Knight was revived in time and space, the ancestral god sect would still hunt him down. Even though Luo Feng's earth body was still being nurtured, the Masha clansmen that had become a praying mat heard it clearly. The ancestral god sect sure treats me specially, Luo Feng thought. However, it seems like my position in their hearts isn't as high as Bug Emperor. Bug Emperor was given 2 treasures by them. The ancestor god cult didn't bestow me with any treasures. After which, Luo Feng turned and returned to his mansion. Creak. The Heart Refinement Monarch closed the door. Although the residence is incredibly safe, now that my cloning technique has been exposed, I'm afraid the other races will be able to guess that it has a weakness. I'll leave my origin core in the human domain. Luo Feng immediately walked into a quiet room. The Masha clansman had long returned to the internal world, and the storage ring was in his palm. Standing in the side hall, buzz, a misty golden light lit up, activating the God Country transfer. Luo Feng could faintly see the endless God Country on the other side of the golden pathway. Whoosh! The teleportation had already disappeared. After 5 minutes, the golden light lit up again, and Luo Feng appeared again. Master! The Heart Refining Monarch was already waiting in the side hall. Huh! Luo Feng laughed. Since he had revealed his natural talent, naturally the core was sent to the virtual universe's primal region, and he had specially arranged for Sky Formation Emperor to wear the ring. Within the world ring was the golden horned beast body and core. Master! Another voice resounded. A swaying 360 cloud contact vines flew into the side hall. Luo Feng knew early on that he would be assassinated. Hence, he naturally didn't bring the cloud contact armor when he left. I'm going to receive the inheritance. And Mo Yun, you and Heart Refinement Emperor continue to stay in the mansion. Luo Feng ordered. Master, I'll follow you out too. And Mo Yun's large amounts of vines swayed. Even though the chances of assassinations happening now are extremely low, it's still better to be cautious. Luo Feng smiled as he ordered. Relax, when I go out on an adventure, I'll still bring you along. Yes. Mo Yun replied obediently. The vines all drooped down. Luo Feng immediately left the mansion. He didn't teleport, but strolled around the island. After walking for over half an hour, he finally reached the teleportation pathway before the island leader's palace. Luo Feng strolled for so long. Naturally, he was targeted by countless warriors. Among them were even the 2 knights that were ordered to assassinate him. However, they were helpless. If they could kill him with their lives, that was fine. But if they did kill him with their lives, he would reappear alive in the blink of an eye. They would die for nothing. The 2 knights definitely wouldn't do such a thing. So, Luo Feng stepped into the water screen. Blade River Emperor went to receive the inheritance. He has more than 600,000 glory points. He can accept the legacy whenever he wants. The legacy land will become his territory. He can go whenever he wants. Some of the Outlander heirs who were watching this scene couldn't help but feel envious. While Luo Feng was receiving the inheritance, the various superpowers of the universe already knew about what happened, especially the demon race, bug race, and automaton race. They were even more furious. It was fine that this human was so strong, but he even had the natural ability to clone himself. This was simply too much for the human race. There was actually such an absolute being. The ability to clone himself couldn't be acquired through training. It was a natural ability bestowed by the universe to some rare races and special life forms. Normally, gods with the natural ability to clone themselves were very hard to kill, because even if they killed one, they could rely on their other bodies to reform the destroyed body. At most, they would have to pay a hefty price. Universe Lord, if we want to kill this Blade River Emperor, there's no other way. There's only one way, and that's through the soul. Either through soul corrosion or soul control. That's the only way to deal with a warrior with a natural ability. You go plan. His Sector Lord core is definitely hidden in the safest place of humanity. To kill him, we have to go through his soul. There's no other way. Many of the absolute beings from the various powers were clear on this. As a Sector Lord, Luo Feng's core was his weakness. However, once he became an undying, breaking it to form his god country, then his weakness would be his god country, and the god country could be hidden in the space between two layers of space. Finding it was almost impossible. Undyings with natural abilities would usually leave one body in the god country to prevent the others from being destroyed. If one couldn't find the god country, then the only way to kill an undying with a natural ability was through the soul. Different bodies with the same soul, the same consciousness. Like Luo Feng's 3 bodies, their souls were all connected, one body. The moment one was controlled, then the other would be affected too. If the soul corrosion was the same, it would be like a virus spreading, causing the other bodies to be corroded too. The soul was the common link between the different bodies. Even if Swamp Corrosion Knight reverses time, he would still be chased by the ancestral god sect. They're strongly requesting for more compensation from the demon race. I've already agreed to reverse time and revive Swamp Corrosion Knight, giving them compensation, and now they're asking for more. Before Sky Wolf Palace, the Sky Wolf leader roared furiously. If one were to compare the rage of the demon race, automaton race, and bug race, the most furious would definitely be the demon race. And the Sky Wolf leader who was in charge of this was even more furious. Losing a Universe Knight and paying a huge price, yet it only cost them a bit of the Sector Lord's energy. Probably the amount of world energy gathered in their bodies wouldn't even amount to one mixed element. Swamp Corrosion Knight's future will be tragic. It's not strange for their race to raise their demands. Sky Wolf leader, if we don't do this, the other races of the Alliance will be disappointed. Damn. The Sky Wolf leader was indeed filled with rage. He was furious at the human, furious at the Primal Chaos City leader, and also furious at the unassuming Blade River King. You'll be in charge of compensating them. Let me ask you, do you have a way to kill that Blade River King? The Sky Wolf leader stood in front of Sky Wolf Palace and stared at the huge snake. The snake groveled. Sky Wolf leader, only through the soul, there's no other way. How? The Sky Wolf leader said. Sky Wolf leader, the most despicable thing is the ancestral god sex order. From this, we can see that the ancestral god sect values the human a lot. They want to nurture Blade River King, like how they nurtured Bug King. It's just that Blade River King isn't strong enough, and the ancestral god sect hasn't shown their favoritism towards him. But at least they've publicly sent out a kill order. It's enough to make none of our Demon Alliance's Universe Knights willing to kill Blade River King. And our Demon Alliance only has so few Universe Knights in the ancestral god sect. We can't afford to lose them. Now we can only wait for a suitable opportunity. Wait until when? The Sky Wolf leader roared. The huge snake lay in the void, not making a sound. When would it be? Who knew when? Anyway, they had no way of dealing with that human in the ancestral god sect. Even the Universe Knights that specialized in the soul aspect were afraid of being hunted by the ancestral god sect. The ancestral god sect was the universe's #1 power. These Universe Knights weren't afraid of being hunted by humans, but they were definitely afraid of the ancestral god sect. Go! The Sky Wolf leader turned and entered Sky Wolf Palace. He knew this subordinate wouldn't be able to answer. Redbud Island, the Beast God Inheritance's secret location. In space. Geofeng the Knight smiled and looked at Luo Feng. Blade River Emperor, Congratulations. Your name has already disappeared from the 3rd level, entering the 4th level. Looks like the 3rd level has been completed. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. The 620,000 battles with the universe geniuses before were indeed of great help. Along with the 900 years of training and the 3rd level inheritance, it was completed in one go. After that, he even received the 4th level of the Beast God inheritance. However, Luo Feng's gains this time were extremely little. Work hard. The absolute beings of our human race all have high hopes for you. Even though I had high hopes for Rong Jun back then, I have high hopes for you now. Jiu Feng the Knight said to Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled and stepped into the teleportation tunnel back to Redbud Island. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 986. The day Luo Feng finished receiving the inheritance, within a restaurant room in the virtual universe Great Alliance City. Luo Feng, Chang Rain Emperor, Chaman Emperor, and Lishua Emperor were gathered together. Blade River Emperor, what's the rush to find us for? Lishua said directly. Don't tell me it's because of the assassination attempt today you're still excited and want to chat with us? You think Blade River Emperor is like you? Emperor Chaman mocked. Didn't you see after the assassination attempt, when he walked out of his mansion and faced the tens of millions of inheritors from the various races of the universe? Hard to say. Chang Rain Emperor smiled at Luo Feng. 3 of you. Luo Feng personally lifted the wine flask and poured wine for the 3 emperors. I've come to find you 3 naturally to ask for your help. Blade River Emperor personally poured wine. Even the most ordinary wine is extraordinary. Emperor Chaman raised his wine glass and took a sip. Blade River, whatever you need, just say it. As long as the 3 of us can help, we definitely won't hesitate. The only thing is, what can we help with? Blade River Emperor asking for help. This was something one couldn't even beg for. Everyone knew that as long as the Blade River Emperor didn't die, he would definitely be extraordinary in the future. To have a good relationship with such a being was extremely difficult. Just like the Ganwu country leader, he took a roundabout route and didn't visit Luo Feng, instead helping Luo Feng's family. Speak. As long as I can do it, I'll definitely help. Chang Rain Emperor and Li Shua Emperor looked at Luo Feng. I want to collect detailed information about the depths of the ancestral god secret region. Luo Feng said, the inheritors of the ancestral god sect. According to what I know, there's still many that use the teleportation pathway before the island leader's palace to head towards the secret region. The inheritors definitely have gathered much information about this. I need this information. Emperor Chaman raised his wine glass and frowned. The ancestral god sect specially set up 3 pathways. They lead to the treasure trove, inheritance, and secret region. Obviously, they want us inheritors to explore and explore. Indeed, there are many who take the risk. They all form teams and support each other. And as long as they apply to be a team in Glory World, they definitely cannot kill each other. In the ancestral god secret region, one's consciousness can connect to Glory World at any time, maintaining the same teleportation. Whoever dares to kill their comrades will be chased by the ancestral god sect. Thousand Rain Emperor and Li Shua Emperor looked at Luo Feng too. They all guessed that the Blade River King was going to the Mystic Realm. If you want to go, it would be better for you to join the team, King Chapman said. I need information. Luo Feng said, just tell me if you have any ideas. No problem. King Chapman nodded. There are many inheritors who have been to the secret plane. Our Hong Alliance has a lot of information. Information was also frequently exchanged between different groups. Give us some time, and we'll quickly gather as much detailed information as we can about the ancestral god's mystic realm. Blade River King, if you want to go to the secret realm, you have to be careful. That place is very dangerous. Even with detailed information, Undying King's strength is still not enough. If you die, even if you have the talent to clone yourself, your treasures will be lost in that dangerous place. The gains do not make up for the losses. Thousand Rain Monarch said, it's best to join an adventure team with a Universe Knight. For example, my Hong Alliance has a Universe Knight, or a team with a Foreign Race Knight that has a good relationship with my Hong Alliance. Come, let's drink. Luo Feng raised his glass. Seeing that Luo Feng wasn't willing to say much, Thousand Rain Monarch and the other two tactfully didn't say much and drank with him. After a long time, the banquet finally ended. Watching Luo Feng leave, Thousand Rain Monarch and the other two exchanged glances before the restaurant. He's gathering this information. Looks like he's very interested in the ancestral god secret region. King Chapman communicated. Who wouldn't be interested? That's the highest level secret region. It's the most mysterious. It's just that I feel that the Blade River King wants to go in alone. Thousand Rain Monarch frowned. Don't bother. The Blade River King has more methods than we can imagine. Li Shua communicated. Since it's rare for him to ask for our help, let's hurry and gather the information. Immediately, the three vanished, leaving the virtual universe and heading to Glory World. Circus Island, Luo Feng's residence. The ancestral god secret region is the highest level secret region in the universe. It has the most treasures and special life forms. It's the best place for me to find my third clone. Luo Feng leaned on the railing and gazed at the distant sky. Circles of light filled with countless origin laws expanded, destroyed, and reformed. Right now, I've completed the third chapter of the 7 transformations. I can already activate the second form of the Wu Killer Wings. When that happens, I can create space turbulence, allowing my escaping ability to rise by 10 to 100 times. The third chapter is complete. That means my origin law comprehension has reached the limit of the Heavenly Bridge's 20th level. I can't drag it out any longer. It's time to choose my third clone. Luo Feng's blood was boiling, filled with anticipation and desire. When the inheritance grounds had just ended, Luo Feng's first thought was to find a suitable special life form to nurture his third clone and step into undying. My name has long spread throughout the universe, and I become a must-kill target for the 3 great races. I have to quickly raise my strength. Once I become undying, I believe my life genetic level won't be much different from Bug Emperor. When that time comes, I'll have the strength of a Universe Knight. Normal knights won't be my match. Luo Feng thought. I'll endure it for now and wait for this third clone that'll be extremely important to my growth. Luo Feng waited quietly within his mansion, waiting for Emperor Chemin and the others' reports. While he was waiting, his heart had already floated into the mysterious secret region. There would definitely be a suitable special life form for his third clone. This wait lasted a total of 16 days. On the 16th day, Virtual Universe, Hongming City, still in that restaurant's private room. Luo Feng, Chong Rain Emperor, Chemin Emperor, and Li Shua Emperor sat together. The table was filled with delicacies from all over the universe. Luo Feng tapped in mid-air and a screen appeared, gently tapping to open the mail and read the contents. In a long history of the ancestral god sect, batches of inheritors had long gone to explore the secret regions. They traveled in groups and were extremely careful. Many of them who felt that they had no hope of breaking through would head to the secret regions to take the risk and try their luck. Some would obtain special encounters and make a huge difference. The experiences of the batches of inheritors had left behind large amounts of information for the later generations. How is it? Chong Rain Emperor teased. Luo Feng stared at the screen and flipped through, nodding. Very good. Much better than I expected. The information is very detailed. There are many dangerous places and special life forms recorded. Blade River, you and I are friends. Maybe you aren't too happy, but I still have to say it. Even though we have this information, haven't the inheritors that head to the secret regions always die? After all, the ancestral god secret region is simply too huge. Even after searching since the beginning of the universe, we still haven't been able to completely explore it. Even though the information is detailed, it's only a small region. There are many places that aren't recorded. If you want to head in alone, you'll have to think about it carefully. Emperor Chemin couldn't help but remind him. I understand. Luo Feng closed the screen. He would study the information by himself later. Relax, I won't mess around. Luo Feng said. On the surface, he said so much to his friend. But how could Luo Feng be so easily convinced? The day he received the information, Luo Feng used his god country to teleport out of Circe Island, arriving at the outside battlefield Star Pagoda. Star Pagoda, within the core hall. Luo Feng appeared in mid-air. In the Star Pagoda, Luo Feng had long left behind a token, allowing him to teleport here at any time. My star map only has 100 stars, but I've already used 52 stars in my second form. I'm afraid it won't be enough in the future. Luo Feng arrived at the edge of the core hall, flipping his hand, and a huge picture scroll floated. Simultaneously, he controlled the stars that revolved around the core hall to fly over. These stars were temporarily useless in the Star Pagoda. Like hailstones, the stars shrunk and quickly fell into the scroll. In just a moment, 1,700 stars had been integrated, causing the number of stars in the star map to reach 1,800. Luo Feng extended his left hand. The huge picture scroll in midair swiftly shrunk and landed in his palm. Looking at the picture scroll, the blurry stars were like a starry sky. If one counted carefully, one would be able to count a total of 1,800 stars. After absorbing the 1,800 stars, this star map gives me a different feeling. On the surface, there didn't seem to be any difference. However, Luo Feng's consciousness was connected to the picture scroll. He could feel the vast power within, the power of the many huge stars stacked together, that terrifying power that could destroy the heavens and earth. When I'm able to control 1,800 stars, I'll probably be a knight of the universe. Luo Feng thought. With these 1,800 stars, the star map should be enough for me to use for a long period of time. Star Pagoda, wait for me to return. The next time I return, I'm afraid I'll be able to fully control you. Luo Feng laughed loudly, following which a blurry golden light appeared before him. So, Luo Feng had already teleported away from his god country. After carefully studying the information regarding the ancestral god's secret region and buying some treasures from the human domain, Luo Feng returned to Circe Island. I have a Masha clansman. I can send it to many dangerous places to explore. How can it be suitable for me to move with the other inheritors? What's more, there are many who want to assassinate me. Moving with the other inheritors could cause problems. Luo Feng stood within his mansion. Heart-refining Emperor, you will temporarily guard the mansion. Luo Feng ordered. Remember, don't ever leave the mansion. Understood. Heart-refining Emperor replied respectfully. Luo Feng immediately entered his world ring. Simultaneously, Masha Luo Feng appeared. The black-clothed Luo Feng smiled, following which the energy flowed. His natural talent was duplicated, immediately becoming a foreign inheritor. Even his energy was the same. However, as the entire island was within the range of the five-colored extreme light lake, everything that happened here was monitored. Hence, when Luo Feng did this, the five-colored extreme light lake would know it was him. Go! The Masha clansman immediately flashed and teleported. At the same time, he appeared in the plaza in front of the Island Lord's palace. With a step, he stepped into the fountain on the right and disappeared with a whoosh. He had been teleported to the secret realm. P.S. Update complete Monday. Tomato, please recommend me. Asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 987. The ancestral god's secret region was vast and endless. In one of the voids, a beautiful fountain appeared out of thin air. Water sprayed in the void, repeating the cycle. A silhouette walked out of the fountain. It was the Masha clansman. The Masha clansman surveyed his surroundings. Other than the fountain floating in space, there was actually no one guarding it. He couldn't help but say softly, the ancestral god sect is indeed confident. Even leaving the pathway here, they aren't worried about anyone destroying it. Right, the ancestral god secret region is the ancestral god sect's territory. Change. His body immediately swapped. His earth body came out, and the Masha clansman entered the world ring. After all, in terms of strength, etc., the earth body was much stronger, especially since he had just completed the third chapter. He could already unleash the second form of the Wu killer wings, having a stronger life preservation ability. Scanning device. Luo Feng activated the mini and large scanning devices. The scanning devices were originally designed to be used in the universe secret regions and not for the outer region battlefields. The large scanning devices were used when rushing through the secret regions. Through the large scanning devices, one would discover distant celestial bodies, then one would avoid them early, no matter if there was any danger or not. Choosing to travel through space was the safest method. On the other hand, the miniature detector was used when one entered a dangerous place and carefully explored it. So, Luo Feng became a beam of light and flew through space, occasionally discovering a safe path ahead. He would teleport and increase his speed, carefully avoiding danger after danger. The natural forms in the ancestral god's secret region were extremely strange. Some of the huge celestial bodies were peculiar, like in the normal universe space. Most celestial bodies were spherical, like planets, stars, white dwarfs, neutron stars, etc. Even black holes are the same. But in the ancestor god's secret realm, there might be irregular celestial bodies, huge continents, or huge lakes. In the void, there might be some islands on the lakes, and occasionally there would be some rolling mountain ranges floating in the void with waterfalls on the mountain ranges. It looked beautiful and mysterious, but in reality, it was filled with danger. Just like when Luo Feng passed by a waterfall, even a universe night, the moment he got wet, he would instantly freeze, his life force would completely collapse, and he would die immediately. And this waterfall water was also an extremely precious material called 9-colored water of the frigid whale. If one used the treasure, purple clock, or an extremely high-grade metal to make some of this 9-colored water of the frigid whale, then they would be rich. The 9-colored water of the frigid whale could be used ingeniously in battles between experts, and its power was limitless. Unfortunately, under the waterfall formed by the frost whale's 9-colored water, there was a terrifying special life form, the frost whale. The frost whale's 9-colored water had different colors from different angles. There was a total of 9 colors. Not long before the birth of the universe, there was once an expert who explored and discovered the 9-colored water. He felt that it was beautiful and magical, so he wanted to take some away. However, before he could touch the frost whale's 9-colored water, he was attacked by the terrifying existence in the water, the frost whale, and died on the spot. In the information Luo Feng had gathered, there was only a simple description of the frost whale. Only universe lords can contend with it. The inheritors were directly teleported to the deepest part of the ancestor god's secret realm, which was considered to be the least dangerous area. After all, this place was specially used by the ancestor god sect to train the inheritors. Of course, wherever there were universe treasures, there would usually be danger. On the 9th day of rushing, within the ancestor god's secret realm, there was a huge mountain range that spanned a few thousand light years. In space, a beam of light suddenly stopped. I haven't slacked in the 9 days. I'll rest first. Luo Feng stood in midair and looked around, turning to look at the huge mountain range. The celestial bodies in the ancestral god's secret region are indeed peculiar. This mountain range is actually over 6,000 light years long, and there are extremely dangerous places within. Just based on my information alone, there are 201 of them. This mountain range had been explored by many inheritors in history. However, it was simply too dangerous, hence only a small portion of it was recorded. With my speed, teleportation, and flight, I estimate it'll still take another 32 days to reach my destination and see the World Tree. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with anticipation. World Tree, the third clone in his plan. Luo Feng's position and authority within the human race was extremely high. He had gathered much information regarding the special life forms, after which he had investigated the large amounts of special life forms within the ancestor god's secret realm. Luo Feng had to admit the ancestor god's secret realm was the most mysterious place in the universe, with the most special life forms. Many powerful and mysterious special life forms were all within the ancestor god's secret realm, like frost whale, back mountain quake, world tree. All of them had universe lord level special life forms. After Luo Feng's constant research, he finally decided on the world tree for his third clone. Even though there were other life forms that were more beneficial to him than the world tree, it was a pity that he had to have a sector lord level special life form, limited to the sector lord level. Hence Luo Feng decided on a world tree. World tree. There were a total of 9 world trees in the entire universe. One of the world trees was at the universe paragon level. This was the strongest world tree, its trunk alone reaching 12 million kilometers in width, and its height reaching 590 million kilometers. Its crown was huge, with a diameter of over 1 billion kilometers. This was a ridiculously large tree. It was the largest tree-type special life form in the universe in terms of size. There were another 3 world trees that were undying level. They were only slightly smaller than the night level world tree by size, with a height of 120 million kilometers. The last 5 world trees were sector lord level. They were slightly smaller than the undying level world tree by size, with a height of 60 million kilometers. The reason why he chose the world tree as his third clone was because of 2 reasons. One was its natural ability. The world tree's natural ability was to control time and space. Within a certain area around it, it could control time and space. Even though it was far from the universe lord's ability to completely control time and space, as the world tree grew stronger, its control over time and space grew stronger too. It was rumored that the universe night level world tree's control over time and space was no weaker than the universe lord's. As for the undying and sector lord world trees, they were naturally much weaker. However, against the same level, it would be a complete waste. After all, just the genetic level alone, the world tree was thousands of times that of a human, and their huge size meant their bodies were incomparably powerful. Just the amount of God energy they stored was shocking. Even if they were to burn their bodies in a battle of attrition, how many would dare compete with the world tree in a battle of attrition? Controlling time and space and having a huge size, these were just the 2 main advantages. There was still the third advantage. That was the world tree's ability to strengthen and stabilize the God country. In Luo Feng's information, he didn't find anyone with a world tree clone. However, it was recorded that the ancestor god sex god, General Man, Ju, had once asked for a branch from the world tree. He planted it in his god country, and it grew into a huge god tree. This god tree that was formed from the world tree branch was called the life tree. The life tree stabilized the god country. The more stable the god country was, the moment an enemy intruded, the pressure within the god country would be 10 to 100 times stronger. God General Manju relied on this move to lure enemies into the god country and kill many of them. This news had spread long ago. In theory, when a god stayed in the god country, they would use the god country to suppress their enemies. The god country buffed themselves, and normally their strength would only increase by a few times. However, with the life tree planted in the god country, it would cause the god country to buff itself and suppress the enemy. The combination would cause one's strength to increase by 100 times. That life tree is just that mysterious. The world tree must be even more mysterious. It will definitely make the god country stronger and more stable. Luo Feng thought. World tree. It controlled space and time. Its size was huge. It contained a huge amount of god energy and stabilized the god country. How could Luo Feng not be envious? And the world tree has a huge advantage in space and time. Even though I'm walking the path of the beast god, when I reach the end of the path and become a beast god, I might even need a breakthrough in space and time. What's more, it's hard to say if I can walk the path of the beast god. With the world tree, I'll have a chance to walk space and time. Walking the path of space and time, becoming a universe lord, that was the main path. In the space beside the huge mountain range, Luo Feng pondered. Even though his target was the world tree, Luo Feng was still worried. Because in his information, he had never heard of anyone making a world tree clone. Of course, it was possible that the warrior with the world tree clone hid this trump card. The Primal Chaos City leader teacher once said that there's a limit to how much my internal world can nurture. Like the unique and powerful life forms in the universe, my internal world probably can't nurture them. Luo Feng thought. I'll choose that world tree. A Sector Lord world tree should be the weakest one. A species, if its genes haven't broken through, then when it reaches the pinnacle of Sector Lord, its body has already grown to its limit. Like the golden horned beast, which was over 1,000 kilometers long, then undying Universe Knight and Universe Lord levels. They were all over 1,000 kilometers long. If the life's genes were raised, only then would there be a possibility of mutation, and that was just a possibility. Like Luo Feng's training in the 9-level manual, his body didn't change at all. His Earth body's height was still less than 2m, and it didn't suddenly grow to 100m, 1000m, or 10 kilometers. And the 9 world trees were obviously of different sizes and heights. Obviously, the strongest world tree was the highest life form. It was rumored that it was thousands of times stronger than a human and belonged to the pinnacle of special life forms in the universe. The 3 undying level world trees were slightly weaker. The 5 Sector Lord level world trees were slightly weaker. No matter how weak it is, it's still better than a branch from the strongest world tree. That branch is a life tree. It can't even be considered a world tree anymore. Luo Feng thought. I wonder if my internal world can nurture that Sector Lord level world tree. It should be possible. Luo Feng was nervous within, however he yearned for it. This was the 3rd body he wanted the most after reading through countless amounts of information. The ability to control space and time. A 60 million kilometer tall tree trunk. Just how much divine power did it possess? The God Country was the foundation of the God Spirits. 3 great advantages. How could Luo Feng not be envious? P.S. First chapter has arrived. Second chapter will arrive at around 10 a.m. To be continued. If you like this work, please come come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 988. The 9 world trees are living together. That's a little troublesome. However, I only need 1 leaf from the world tree. There's still hope. Luo Feng thought. Actually, Luo Feng was more troubled. It was the place where the 9 world trees lived. It was very special, no less than the mountain range beside it. The 9 world trees lived in the 9 underworld space. The 9 underworld space wasn't as big as the mountain range beside it. Its diameter was 12 light years. However, it was one of the most terrifying and dangerous places in the ancestral God's secret region. On the surface, Luo Feng knew from his reports that there were a few beings with Universe Lord level strength. The territory occupied by the 9 world trees was only a corner of that space-time. There were also several other powerful special life forms that occupied the territory. This was just the surface information. The ancestral God sect also reminded the inheritors of the 8 most dangerous places. These 8 most dangerous places, even universe lords could fall into, never to come out. One of them was the 9 underworld space. Generations of inheritors had discovered that the few existences with the combat power of the lords of the universe were only a superficial threat. I have to be careful. Even universe lords could fall into the 9 underworld space. I'm just a punk. I'd better be more low profile. If there's danger, I'll let the Masha clansmen take care of it. The Masha clansmen will be finished. My internal world can still form another Masha clansman. However, if my earth body dies and falls into a dangerous place, I'm afraid even my treasures would be hard to retrieve. Luo Feng was indeed nervous. There was no choice. The 9 underworld space was too famous. Riches come from danger. I'll be careful. With my clansman techniques, the Masha clansman techniques, I don't believe I can't even get a single world tree leaf. The 9 underworld space was extremely dangerous, yet it was a place the inheritors often went to. Why? Because they weren't afraid of death. Throughout history, the inheritors who couldn't break through were forced to go to these dangerous places to try their luck. Even though the 9 underworld space was extremely dangerous, It was also a place with many treasures. Even though large amounts of inheritors fell there, there were still many who obtained huge rewards. In the 9 underworld space, a treasure obtained by chance could be comparable to a treasure, enough to make universe lords crazily chase after it. There were originally many inheritors in history, but now there were only a few 100 million left. Other than dying in other places, most of them died in the secret regions. Luo Feng casually ate some food and relaxed his body and mind. Half an hour later, he once again became a beam of light and flew along the edge of the mountain towards the depths of the space. Sometimes he flew, sometimes he teleported. He was extremely careful. At the highest point of the virtual universe, Thunderbolt Island, within the palace filled with endless streams of energy, a golden-robed primal chaos city leader stood in front of the palace, gazing down at the vast island. There were many palaces on the island, with countless Undyings from the Virtual Universe Company living there. At the very bottom were the Undyings. In the center of the island was a mountain range. The middle of the mountain was where the Universe Knights lived, and at the peak was where the Universe Lords lived. The peak was completely shrouded in energy. One couldn't even see it from below. The primal Chaos City Leader's palace was at the highest point. Looking down from above, one could see the entire Thunderbolt Island with a single glance. One could also see the floating Yuxiang Mountain in the distance. One could even see the core disciples diligently cultivating and listening to the lectures of the experts on the Yuxiang Mountain. I wonder if my disciple can safely obtain a branch and a half of the world tree this time. The primal Chaos City leader muttered softly. To choose the world tree as his third body, he is indeed ambitious. However, to be able to become an absolute being, which of them wouldn't be ambitious? Even though it's dangerous, he still has his talent to create clones. There's no need to worry about dying. 9 underworld space. I've never been there before. That's the territory of the ancestral god sect. There are many places that forbid our 6 races from entering. His treasures can only be obtained by the strongest of the sect. The primal chaos city leader said. 9 underworld space was rather famous. It seemed dangerous. However, to the creator of the huge axe, it wasn't dangerous at all. The creator of the huge axe could totally go there and take away all the treasures in the 9 underworld space. That way, the 3 great ancestor gods would definitely be infuriated. The ancestral god secret region was their territory. Many of the unique life forms belonged to the ancestral god sect long ago, like the treasures, etc. The 3 great ancestor gods could easily take them all away. However, they didn't, as they wanted to nurture the next generation of disciples. After all, those treasures were no longer of any use to them. Those inheritors will be nurtured by the ancestral god sect. Some with special encounters would eventually be accepted as outer members. They would be considered thugs of the ancestral god sect. As for the 6 great races, along with the Space Beast Alliance and the Northern Border Alliance, they were dreaming if they wanted to enter. Luo Feng, it's up to you. You need power, brains, and also luck. It all depends on your internal world, whether or not it can nurture the world tree clone. The primal Chaos City leader was very clear. Within these 1 or 2 months, there would be results. As for whether or not Luo Feng's internal world could nurture the world tree clone, he wasn't confident. Because the limit of the Golden Horned Beast's internal world was 10 to 100 times that of the Golden Horned Beast itself, roughly this range. And that Sector Lord level world tree was 2 levels lower than the strongest world tree. It might just be the internal world's limit. Luck. It all depends on whether or not he has the fate to nurture the world tree clone. The primal Chaos City leader's eyes were filled with anticipation. Luo Feng carefully advanced, avoiding all the dangerous areas. Even if he discovered some places with treasures, he wouldn't go. His target was the world tree in the 9 underworld space. Luo Feng didn't want to cause any problems. In the ancestral god secret region, treasures meant danger. Danger also meant treasures. So, Luo Feng became a beam of light and tore through the skies. The large scanning device and mini scanning device were constantly scanning. In a few safe areas, he swiftly teleported. 8 light years away from Luo Feng. In a vast space, there weren't any celestial bodies. Relying on flight and teleportation, Luo Feng arrived in an hour. The information says that this space, with a diameter of about 10 light years, has some hidden dangers. Luo Feng looked at the endless space ahead. However, there's no other way. According to the information I've gathered, the path I'm taking should be the safest path. No matter how safe it is, I still have to pass through 12 dangerous areas before I reach 9 underworld space. To reach 9 underworld space, to create an absolutely safe path, that was impossible. After all, Luo Feng was too weak. Many places that weren't dangerous to a universe knight were dangerous to him. This space was like that. A universe knight could simply fly through it or teleport through it. Luo Feng's teleportation limit was only about 1 light year. He had no way of crossing it. Be careful, be cautious. Luo Feng activated his world projection, carefully scanning for dangers. Every time he teleported within the range of the world projection, every time he teleported tens of millions of km, in the blink of an eye, he had teleported hundreds of times. Tens of millions of km of short-distance teleportation. In one breath, he had teleported close to 1 light year. Only then did Luo Feng stop to rest. This short-distance teleportation, it's really... Luo Feng shook his head. Ahead was still endless space. One couldn't see the end. Wang, out of nowhere, without any warning. A space whirlpool of about 10,000 kilometers in diameter appeared around Luo Feng. The strong space whirlpool formed a pressure. It made Luo Feng feel like a fishing boat in the middle of a hurricane, unable to break free. Wu Killer Wings. Luo Feng's wings swiftly expanded, activating the Wu Killer Wings. With his current origin law comprehension, this originally incomparably complicated Wu Killer Wings now had countless threads connecting them. Back in the outer region battlefield, Luo Feng could only activate the surface layer of the Wu Killer Wings. It was the first form. At this time, as Luo Feng activated even more threads, the Wu Killer Wings actually chi. All the edges of the wings actually elongated, becoming thin and golden. Before, the feathers on the wings were like normal feathers, only the edges were sharp. But at this moment, each feather was thin, long, and sharp, as if thin sabers had been arranged in a row. The silver wings, the edges of the wings were gold. Schwa! With a wave of the Wu Killer Wings, the edges of the wings were filled with countless blades that sliced through space. Under the space energy of the wings, it immediately formed a terrifying space turbulence. Break! Luo Feng, who was trapped in the space whirlpool, struggled hard. The space whirlpool was completely isolated from the outside world. Even teleportation was impossible. Luo Feng could only rely on the Wu Killer Wings to destroy the space whirlpool. Pong! In just 2 seconds, the space whirlpool dispersed like smoke. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. However, looking around, he was shocked. Where is this? Around him was a large piece of land. On it grew all sorts of flowers and trees. They were of different colors. The fragrance of the flowers wafted. In the distance was a mountain range. As for the sky above this land, it was covered in green energy. Let's look at the universe coordinates. Luo Feng looked at the coordinates and was shocked to discover, I'm actually 300 light years away from the empty space. That space whirlpool is a natural pathway? Luo Feng frowned as he looked around. The spatial vortex that appeared out of nowhere ruined his plan. Fortunately, according to the coordinates of the universe, this place was closer to the 9 underworld space-time. As long as he got out, he would be able to reach the 9 underworld space-time within 10 days. Where is this? In the information I've gathered, there's no description of this place. Luo Feng looked around, his eyes filled with caution. This was an unknown place, and it was one of those naturally formed space whirlpools. This unknown region definitely wasn't normal. The chances of danger were extremely high. The large and micro scanners all began to scan. The space ripples here are isolated from the outside world. It seems to be that green energy layer, I can't feel the ripples outside. Luo Feng looked up. An environment that could isolate teleportation was rather common in the universe's secret regions. I'm in trouble. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Woo! Today's 2 chapters are late, begging for recommendation votes. Monthly votes to console tomato. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 989. The scanning device swiftly scanned for any hidden dangers. Luo Feng stood where he was and didn't make any rash moves. I have 2 paths. One is to risk my life in this unknown place and find a way out. The other is to directly teleport back to the human domain from the God Country, and from there to Bauhinia Island, before heading back to 9 Underworld space. Luo Feng's gaze was like a blade as he scanned his surroundings, inspecting everything. The flowers and grass here were all very beautiful. It was completely silent. There were no other life forms. Charge. If I'm careful, I should be able to charge out. The inheritors of the ancestral god sect warned them about the danger zones. They didn't mention this place. Luo Feng thought, I don't want to head out for Bauhinia Island again, wasting another 10 days. When that time comes, I'll probably have to pass through that space region again. I'll be speechless if I get teleported in again. Very quickly, large amounts of data appeared on the screen on his arm. Luo Feng looked down. Very normal? Luo Feng frowned. Let's go. Luo Feng immediately chose a direction and flew through the air, discovered a natural wormhole. The scanning device alerted Luo Feng. Natural wormhole? Luo Feng, who became a beam of light, immediately slowed down and looked down at the map on the scanning device. After confirming his location, he immediately rushed over. After flying for tens of millions of km, Luo Feng arrived at the waist of a mountain, looking at the space warping ahead. There's actually a wormhole in this place? Luo Feng stared at it. Wormholes were commonly seen in the universe. Every wormhole connected 2 places. As long as one entered the wormhole, he would immediately reach the other end. If it was in the universe space, Luo Feng wouldn't care. However, in the secret region, where does the wormhole lead to? Luo Feng pondered for a moment. With a thought, a black energy flow flew out and formed a tall and sturdy man. It was the Masha clansman. Even if the Masha clansman is destroyed, I can make it reform and teleport here from the God Country. Luo Feng thought. He was like a living gathering point. His soul slaves could easily sense him. The Masha clansman carefully flew into the wormhole. Passing through the wormhole, the Masha clansman immediately arrived at another place. The Masha clan clone looked ahead. There was a huge basin with a 10,000-kilometer wide lake. Above the lake floated a conical mountain. It was about 1,000 kilometers tall and looked unassuming. However, it just floated above the lake. Lake? A floating mountain peak? The Masha clan clone stared at it closely. So close. The distance between my earthling body and this place is less than 10 billion kilometers. The Masha doppelganger was a bit shocked. He could easily sense the location of the earthling's main body. The distance was too close, and he could reach it with a single teleport. Luo Feng's body continued to fly forward. He too knew of the situation on the other side of the wormhole. However, he wasn't in a rush to explore. After flying for a while, a new natural wormhole has been discovered, the detector warned. New. Luo Feng was startled, following which he flew towards the location indicated by the detector. This new natural wormhole was within a river. Luo Feng didn't dare casually enter the river. He immediately summoned the Masha clansman to teleport back and let it test it out. The Masha clansman leapt into the river. There's nothing special about this water. It's just that the density is higher. The Masha clansman swiftly confirmed. Luo Feng immediately used his world energy to form a huge clay pot and filled it with the river water. I'll slowly study it when I get back. Luo Feng thought. The Masha clansman, however, entered the wormhole in the river. The other end of the wormhole was still the river water. When a Masha clansman came out of the river water and looked around, he was shocked. My God, this. The Masha clan's clone looked up into the sky. There was a conical mountain floating in the sky, covering his head. Around it was a vast lake. The land around the lake was even higher, forming a basin. Last time the other end of the wormhole was the lake, this time it's in the lake. The two wormholes actually lead to the same place. The Masha clansman was stunned too. Luo Feng too was filled with curiosity as he continued forward. Very quickly, he discovered a new wormhole. This time, the Masha clansman tried again and discovered that the wormhole led to another lake. As he continued forward, another new wormhole appeared. It led to the lake. More and more wormholes were discovered. Finally, Luo Feng got anxious. He stopped flying and teleported to the lakeside. That's peculiar. Luo Feng stood beside the lakeside and looked at the lake and the floating conical mountain peak. I've discovered 9 wormholes in a row. They all lead here. It seems like this dangerous place is special. I've discovered 10,081 wormholes. The scanning device alerted Luo Feng. What? Luo Feng looked down at the screen on his arm. On it were the locations of the wormholes. What made Luo Feng feel a chill was that these 10,081 wormholes were like a huge beehive, covering all directions of the conical mountain peak, completely surrounding it. And the shape they formed was very similar to the Masha clansman's life crystal. The Masha clansman's life crystal had 10,081 facets. On it were extremely complex origin law engravings that corresponded to the space origin laws. The more special a place is, the more likely it is to have treasures. Similarly, where there are treasures, there will definitely be danger. Luo Feng thought. This was pretty much the experience of countless inheritors. If a place had treasures, but no danger, it could only mean that the danger had already been dealt with by other warriors. Luo Feng looked at the conical mountain peak. He felt that the floating cone-shaped mountain peak was the most suspicious. However, he didn't dare to barge in. If there was a terrifying special life form, like the frost whale living in the cone-shaped mountain peak, it would swallow his earth body in one gulp once it was alarmed. Then, it would be difficult for him to take back his slaying Wu wings, pagoda pearl, and other treasures. Let's see where the other end of these 10,081 wormholes are. Luo Feng thought. South. The Masha clansman immediately flew towards one of the wormholes. He entered the wormhole and quickly arrived at the other end of the wormhole. It was about 30 billion kilometers away from the lake, and it was a quiet desert. The Masha clansman immediately returned and found another wormhole beside the lake to enter. Madly entering the wormholes, gradually, Luo Feng got more and more familiar with the situation of this mysterious land. These wormholes led to many places in this mysterious land. The furthest one was about 120 billion kilometers away. What shocked Luo Feng the most was there were 3 places where he found broken armors and weapons. However, there were no treasures. Inheritors have special positions. Inheritors usually have a high proportion of treasures. These broken armors mean that life has been here before, and the life that came here could very well be an inheritor. However, there are only broken armors and other worthless items. There's nothing valuable at all, not even a world ring, not a single treasure. Luo Feng held a piece of armor in his hand. There should be survivors like me who survived and took the treasures. Or maybe the aboriginals of this mysterious land have taken the treasures. The number of inheritors that came here should be very few. If there were many, the news would have spread long ago. Luo Feng thought. If there were survivors, why didn't they spread the news of this mysterious land? Luo Feng pondered. He wanted to find any clues. So, Luo Feng fiercely retreated, following a wormhole and retreating 10 billion kilometers away. My Earth body better hide further away. I'll let the Masha clansmen go in and scout. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The Masha clansmen flew towards the floating conical mountain peak, carefully inspecting it. This conical mountain peak had many densely packed little caves. According to the scanning device, there were a total of 10,081 caves. Every cave was only 3-4 m tall. However, Compared to the 1,000 kilometers tall mountain peak, these caves were insignificant. South. The Masha clansmen flew straight into one of the caves and landed within. Mountain rock. The Masha clansmen grabbed onto the rock beside it. With a bit of strength, the entire cave walls glowed with a silver light. The Masha clansman felt a strong energy rush over, shaking his body until it broke apart. After which, the black energy flowed and he recovered. What is this? The Masha clansman was shocked. He stared at the seemingly normal wall. The entire cliff is one piece. It feels like it has a life of its own. I think the amount of strength I used was considered small. After all, it's Sector Lord Pinnacle strength. I wonder, if I let my earth body tear the rock apart, what would happen? The Masha clansmen continued to carefully proceed. The cave was deep. Walking within, the Masha clansmen felt the space ripples become special. There were no plants at all. It was just an empty wall. After a while, after walking a few hundred km, the Masha clansmen finally reached the center of the conical mountain peak. This was a wide cave. In the center, there was a pool. The pool was split into 5 smaller pools. Every pool had a different color, and they all had different energies. There was a fire energy, a sharp gold energy. In the air above the 5-color pool, there were countless space cracks, forming and disappearing at times. The countless space cracks formed an extremely beautiful shape. It was almost like a huge nest. At the center of the countless space cracks floated a ball-shaped crystal. This was a peculiar ball-shaped object with 10,081 facets. On its surface, it seemed to flow like water. Sometimes it seemed to have a transparent flame rising. Sometimes it seemed to have plants growing. Treasure. The Masha clansman stared hard at the ball-shaped crystal. Even if he didn't know anything, just from the energy it created, he could guess that it was definitely a treasure. Even the 5-colored pool water below was not an ordinary pool water. Where's the danger? The Masha clansman didn't dare to go over easily. One had to know that the space in this mysterious place was very stable. The ball-shaped crystal floated there, causing countless cracks to appear. If it truly exploded, the Masha clansmen would be instantly destroyed. And according to Luo Feng's understanding of the secret region, other than the danger of the treasure itself, there should be other dangers as well. The Masha clansmen carefully looked at the 5-color pool, the crystal ball, and the surrounding extremely quiet mountain. It was almost as though the entire mountain was alive. P.S. Chapter 1 has ended. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 990. The Masha clansmen carefully examined the pool and the floating crystal ball. At the same time, in a canyon 10 billion kilometers away, Luo Feng was hiding within a cave. Luo Feng sat cross-legged. Let's first check and see what this pool and crystal ball is about. Luo Feng's consciousness connected to the virtual universe. Yuxiang Mountain Luo Feng's villa study. Luo Feng sat before his desk, opening his laptop and swiftly searching. Using his consciousness, he sent the images into the network and began to search. The human race's advantage was this. When they met with danger or unknown treasures, they could connect to the virtual universe and search. Of course, there were different levels of authority too. The more mysterious the treasure, the higher the authority requirement. And ever since Luo Feng's name as the Blade River Emperor spread throughout the universe, his authority had already been raised to an extremely high level, even higher than normal knights. Luo Feng, I've found it. Babada shouted from his shoulder. Luo Feng frowned, staring at the screen, after which he gently opened the information at the top. According to the images, the virtual universe network had already given him an accurate answer. 5-color pool. Known as the 5-colored pool. It looks like a pool, however that's just a visual illusion. The pool isn't really water. In truth, it's 5 abyss tunnels, connecting to the universe origin energy. It absorbed an endless stream of 5 elemental origin energy, continuously gathering and nurturing it. Where the 5-colored pool gathers, a space heart will normally be born. Crystal ball. known as the space heart, there's a 5-colored pool ground. It'll only form after an incomparably long period of time. When it forms, it's a ball shape with 10,081 facets. From formation to completion, it requires a longer period of time. During the formation process, the surface of the crystal will change the 5 elements. Only when it completely solidifies and stabilizes, and the surrounding space cracks vanish, will it truly form. At this point, the space heart is truly useful. The 5-colored pool was 5 abysses, a special environment within the universe. It couldn't be moved or taken away. The space heart was the core material used to create the origin treasures. Origin treasures? Luo Feng was slightly stunned, yet another foreign term. Treasure. Luo Feng was shocked within. To be able to be called a treasure, it was definitely extraordinary. One had to know that his star map, Pagoda Pearl, and Wu's slaying wings had barely crossed the threshold of a supreme treasure. As for the Wu's slaying wings, they were not of much use even to the masters of the universe. At most, they would make the universe supremacies go crazy. Looks like I'm in luck this time. The Ancestor God's secret realm is indeed the most mysterious secret realm. Luo Feng thought, at the same time immediately searching through the internet for the terms origin treasure and heart of space. Soon, a large amount of information appeared on the screen. Luo Feng immediately continued reading. Origin treasure refers to the origin treasure. It's a general term for a certain type of treasure. In the lifetime of a universe warrior, only at the moment when they step from Sector Lord to Undying would they be able to connect with the ocean of laws of the universe source land. Only then would they be able to have the universe source land pour endless energy into their body to transform it into a god body. In an instant, he would possess a huge amount of divine power. There would only be one such chance, and along with training, one's strength would increase. During this process, the warrior would also be able to connect with the universe source land's ocean of laws and slowly absorb the energy. At this point, the absorption speed would be much slower. However, as the increase in strength was very slow, many warriors would only break through after 1,000,000 years, up to 100 million years. Hence, even though the absorption was slow, it was enough for the god body to constantly grow stronger. However, in the battles of the universe warriors, true life and death battles, it was common for them to burn their divine power. After storing for trillions of years, the moment a large amount of divine power was burnt, for example 50%, to recover such a huge amount of divine power, it would take an extremely long time. Luckily, there were large amounts of treasures in the universe that could be converted into divine power to allow a warrior to swiftly recover, even awakening a slumbering god, allowing his strength to swiftly recover. However, at the normal, undying level, the many treasures in the universe were still very useful. However, at the universe night level, their god bodies were extremely strong. Once they lost 30%, 50%, etc., then to recover, the amount of treasures needed would be incomparably huge, tens of thousands of times more than the undying level. Even if a knight were to sell his entire fortune, he wouldn't be able to gather such a huge amount of treasures. And this was just the universe night level. If it was the universe lord level, in a war between the races, when the universe lords clashed, the moment they lost 50% of their god body, that would be even more terrifying. 50% of a universe lord's god body, to the entire race, was a huge loss. Even for the pinnacle races, if the primal Chaos City leader lost a clone, then the price would be heartbreaking. Because how much energy would a single clone of the primal Chaos City leader require? At the universe lord level, treasures that could quickly recover their strength were too rare, and not many could afford to use them. To the universe lords and overlords, there was one type of treasure that was incomparably important. Origin treasures. Origin treasures were not used for defense or offense, but to allow powerhouses to draw upon the sea of laws of the universe's origin. Once one possessed an origin treasure, the speed of drawing upon the sea of laws of the universe's origin could be 1,000, 10,000, or even 1,000,000 times faster. As for how much the efficiency was increased, It depended entirely on the grade of the origin treasure. Such treasures were all categorized as origin treasures because these treasures were highly valued by the universe lords and overlords. If one had an origin treasure, for example, if a universe lord was heavily injured, his divine body would take 1,000,000 years to recover. But if one had an origin treasure that could absorb 100,000 times more energy, then one would be able to recover in just 10 years. To the universe lord level, how short was a mere 10 years? Even if an origin treasure that could increase one's speed by 1,000 times was considered a low-level treasure, it was still enough to make the universe lords envious. As long as one had such a treasure, then one wouldn't be afraid to burn 10% of one's divine body in battle. Because if one burned less divine body, one's recovery speed would be faster. With the help of an origin treasure, one would be able to recover even more quickly. To be able to let an expert burn their divine power, one could imagine the value of such a treasure. However, the main materials needed to create an origin treasure were extremely rare. Each one was born in the universe's unique environment and required a long period of time to form. Heart of Space. The Heart of Space was a relatively high-level material among the origin treasures. It was a material that connected to the space law sea. The core materials of an origin treasure were divided into 8 types: low-level metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, and light. High-level materials included time and space. Top-level materials that fused metal and space, wood and space, and many other types that fused together. There are also legendary materials that encompassed all laws. Just by relying on the Heart of Space and some supplementary materials, one could refine an origin treasure. Within the floating mountain peak, in the belly of the mountain, the Masha clone was staring at the crystal ball, muttering to himself. Origin treasures usually fall into the hands of universe lords and overlords. They are all considered treasures. TSK, and this Heart of Space is considered a high-level one. Its value is probably shocking, probably no less than my Wu E. Origin treasures. The stronger one was the more they needed them. This was because the weaker ones absorbed divine power slowly. Even if it was increased by 1,000 or 10,000 times, how much faster could it be? And for the lords of the universe, their absorption speed was already terrifying, like a whale swallowing crazily. But compared to their incomparably strong divine bodies, the normal absorption speed was still very average. However, with the help of the origin treasures, they would be able to increase their speed by 1,000, 10,000, or even more. To an entire race, they would be able to wantonly snatch energy from the sea of laws of the land of origin. I didn't expect that the 5-colored pool wasn't a pool. It was a visual misdirection. I couldn't even get any benefits from it. The Masha clone shook his head. Treasure, it's that crystal ball, Heart of Space. The Masha clone looked at the countless spatial cracks surrounding the crystal ball. It was like a nest of cracks. There were transparent flames and water flowing on it. According to the description, it has already formed, just that it hasn't fully formed. After it forms, it should completely solidify, and the spatial cracks should disappear. I can only take it away when it forms. The Masha clone was anxious. How long would that take? As for giving it up, this was the core material of an origin treasure. As long as he had some supplementary materials, he could use it as the core to refine an origin treasure. Its value was probably no less than Wu Yu's wings and the star map. How could he give it up so easily? Just as the Masha clone was in the belly of the mountain, wanting to obtain the crystal ball, but not knowing when it would fully form on the lake below the floating mountain. So, a towering figure appeared on the surface of the lake out of nowhere. It was an expert of a different race with a huge snake tail and a human upper body, but his head had 3 faces. His head was shaped like a triangular pillar, and the 3 faces were ugly and evil even in the eyes of humans. His 2 thick arms were covered in scales, and he was holding a black scepter. It's been 3,000 eras since I discovered the 5-colored abyssal land. In the most recent era, the spatial heart has already taken shape. It's clearly much more powerful now, and spatial vortexes are frequently appearing in the surrounding void. Several batches of inheritors have already entered by luck, but I've dealt with them one by one. Be careful. Come here once a day to sweep through. Kill all inheritors and don't spread the news. Even if most inheritors see the heart of space, they won't recognize it. But once they see it and the news spreads, some universe overlords might come. Even the guardian beast gods might come. After all, anyone would come to get an origin treasure. However, it's mine, so it's mine. As long as I refine it, my survivability and combat power will increase greatly. I don't have to fear even if I burn my divine body. According to his pattern, he would first check the conical mountain and then go through the 10,081 wormholes in the core area. He would head to 10,081 places and use his divine power to scan them all. If there were inheritors, he would kill them. Let's see if my heart of space is fully formed. He held the black staff. The towering figure flew towards the floating conical mountain. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 991. Floating inside the conical mountain, the Masha clone stared at the heart of space. This was the core material of an origin treasure, a crystal ball that was as valuable as a low-level treasure like the Wu Slaughter Wing, but it still had the appearance of the 5 elements on its surface, and the cracks in the space around it kept appearing and disappearing. Clearly, it had not truly formed. Just when will it form? The Masha clansman was anxious. Give up? He couldn't. Wasting time here. Even though it had formed long ago, it would probably only form within these 1,000 years, or immediately, or after that. If it's really for this treasure material, even if I wait here for 1,000 years, it's nothing. The Masha clansman thought, maybe I can head to the 9 underworld space and arrange for a soul slave to keep watch here. Just as Luo Feng was hesitating, the majestic foreign race silhouette flew into one of the 10,081 caves in the conical mountain. This cave meandered for 100 kilometers. It was deep and dark. The foreign race warrior shrunk his body and flew within the cave. His tail shook slightly as he swiftly flew deeper into the cave. My spatial heart, hurry up and form a body. I'm getting impatient. The 3 sinister faces of the outsider were filled with anticipation. So, the foreign race expert darted into the belly of the mountain, and his divine body rapidly returned to its original size. However, the moment he entered the belly of the mountain and his divine body expanded, his 3 faces were filled with astonishment. They were astonished to see an immortal successor of the ancestor god sect standing at the edge of the 5-colored pool. An inheritor. The alien venerable recognized him at a glance. He was one of the inheritors on Circe Island. The Masha clansman was one of the inheritors. His energy was mimicked too. The foreign being couldn't tell it was the Masha clansman. The Masha clansman seemed to sense something as he turned to look. One look, and he was scared out of his wits. Universe Knight. The Masha clansman was shocked. The Universe Knight was simply too silent. His energy was hidden. He didn't even notice when he arrived in the mountain. Die! The instant the foreign being saw the Masha clansman turn, his 3 faces became even more vicious. Kill! He was currently in a very bad mood because this inheritor had actually come to the Cone Mountain. Who knew if this inheritor had spread the news? Of course, under normal circumstances, when encountering such a special treasure, the inheritor would not easily spread the news. However, even if he killed the inheritor before him, when the inheritor revived in the future, there was still a possibility that the news would be leaked. Soul control, kill. The alien venerable's head suddenly turned. One of its dark green faces stared at the Masha clone and used a soul control technique. In this way, the possibility of the news being leaked would be eliminated. The hollowified god power instantly attacked the Masha clansman. Like a gust of wind, the Masha clone flew towards the 5-color pool without being affected at all. In an instant, he stood between the 5-color pool and the space core. Standing there, the Masha clone felt waves of metal, wood, water, fire, and Earth origin energy gather at the space core above his head. Outsider, if you want to kill me, then don't blame me for self-detonating. You should know what will happen to me in the sky above the 5-colored abyssal pool. The Masha clan's clone immediately roared. Stop! The alien venerable jumped in fright. The three faces all had a sliver of worry in their eyes. He knew things weren't good. He actually met an inheritor who knew about the 5-colored abyssal pool and space core. Normal, undying levels wouldn't know the secrets of these treasures. And from what this undying inheritor said, he seemed to know about the 5-colored abyssal pool and its weaknesses. Don't self-detonate. Don't self-detonate. The alien venerable panicked. Before, he used soul control and didn't use God power to kill. Other than preventing the news from leaking, he was also afraid that the powerful God power would affect the 5-colored abyssal pool. The 5-colored abyssal pool was a special environment in the universe. However, the self-detonation of an undying was enough to rip apart space. Even the 5-colored abyssal pool would be damaged, although it would slowly recover after a long time. However, the space core that had been nurturing before couldn't absorb any more energy. How is this possible? How can he not be controlled by my soul? Even if he can resist, how can he not be affected at all? The alien venerable panicked. If a normal inheritor dared to threaten him, then he could just destroy his soul. However, this inheritor before him was actually able to resist his soul control and not be affected at all. His godly energy's soul destruction would probably be useless too. When the Masha clansmen discovered the foreign knight, 10 billion kilometers away, Luo Feng's earth body, who was hiding in a cave, was shocked. There's actually a foreign venerable. No wonder all the inheritors before died. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Leave something behind. I'll leave this place temporarily. Luo Feng didn't hesitate, immediately taking out a space ring disguised as a rock and throwing it amongst the many rocks in the cave. After which, he flew down and used the mini-scanning device to isolate the energy ripples before letting his subordinates activate the God Country transfer. A misty golden light lit up. The God Country teleportation was activated. Luo Feng took a step and immediately teleported to the distant servant's God Country and left. In the belly of the cone-shaped mountain, the Masha clansmen floated in between the 5-colored pool and the space core, looking at the alien venerable beside the pool. Pung! The quantum computer on the Masha clansman's right arm suddenly exploded. Simultaneously, a powerful god energy immediately suppressed the Masha clansman. Inheritor. The alien venerable changed from his previous rage and anxiety, becoming cold as he looked at the Masha clansman. You, an undying, can actually resist my soul control. You're really powerful. However, you're simply too foolish. Did you think that self-destruction could threaten me? If you had taken advantage of me being caught off guard and immediately self-destructed, I would still be angry. However, if you gave me some time, you wouldn't even have a chance to retaliate. 1. A thin barrier suddenly formed above the pool. A powerful god energy was infused within. This was a barrier completely formed from god energy, protecting the 5-colored pool well. Even if you really self-destructed, how could your undying self-destruct break my god energy protection? The alien venerable was full of confidence, and your quantum computer receiver has already been destroyed by me. Ha! The inheritor's receiver was given by the guardian beast god. There should only be one, right? You don't have a spare. Even if you want to enter the glory world, you won't be able to. I really don't know if you're foolish or kind. The moment I discovered you, I entered the glory world and have been watching. I was worried that you punk would immediately enter and spread the news, but you actually didn't. The Masha clansman looked at him. Even though he was restricted by the powerful god energy, the Masha clansman wasn't nervous at all. First destroying my receiver in the glory world, and then protecting the 5-colored pool. The Masha clansman smiled. But did you think I would be that foolish? The alien venerable was slightly stunned. He was shocked. He too felt that the inheritor's actions were foolish. However, any inheritor was a genius. How could he make such a low-level mistake? But you didn't connect to the glory world and didn't spread the news. If you connected, the moment you appeared in the plaza, I would have seen you. The alien venerable said, You destroyed my receiver in the glory world, but I still have the virtual universe sensor. The Masha clansman said, Virtual universe? Humans' virtual universe? The alien venerable was shocked. Smart. The Masha clansman smiled. The moment I discovered you, I left many messages in the virtual universe and set the conditions. The moment I cut off the connection, all the messages will be sent out. My friends, the absolute warriors of my race, will also know immediately. The three faces of the alien venerable became even more twisted, gritting his teeth. Even though the Masha clansman wasn't a human, but many races in the universe would have their own information network in the virtual universe. No matter how high the price was, they would still do it. Because in the vast universe, only the virtual universe could do that, sending messages to any part of the universe. Therefore, it was normal for peerless geniuses of different races to carry anonymous account sensors. Perhaps the peerless geniuses of different races were controlling a human slave. Speak, what do you want? The alien venerable stared at the Masha clansman. My life and death are all controlled by you. Even if you give me any treasures, I'm afraid the moment you get the space heart, you'll immediately kill me. Why would I trust you? The Masha clansman said. The Masha clansman and the alien venerable were stalling for time. Actually, when the Masha clansman discovered the alien venerable, his original plan was to rush into the five-colored pool below. Because Luo Feng had searched through the virtual universe and found out some of the secrets of the five-colored pool. The five-colored pool was actually five abysses. The moment the Masha clansman entered, he would be transported along the abysses. However, the universe source grounds would repel Luo Feng, and in the middle of the pathway, the Masha clansman would be expelled. This way, the Masha clansman would be able to leave. This five-colored pool's true secret was something even normal venerables didn't know about. This alien venerable before him might not even know. However, when Luo Feng was executing his plan, the moment the Masha clansman flew above the five-colored pool and below the space heart, he immediately changed his mind. Because Luo Feng discovered something that shocked and excited him. Wung, the life crystal within the Masha clansman's body. The life crystal core also had 10,081 facets, and there were complex patterns of the law of space on it. At this moment, the life crystal core seemed to resonate with the space heart above it. Strange energy was being transmitted into the life crystal core, causing it to slowly transform. Luo Feng had never heard of such a thing before, but he felt that it was beneficial to him. The life crystal and space heart both had 10,081 facets. These two could resonate with the universe source ground space origin law ocean, just that the difference in power was smaller and larger. The life crystal's resonance could cause the Masha clansman space law senses to be 10 times stronger, and the legendary space heart, as a high-level material. The moment it was made into an origin treasure, it would increase the absorption rate of God energy by over 10,000 times. The size was different too. In terms of quality, the difference was huge too. Sector Lord level life crystal, Undyings could easily destroy it. The space heart, however, was an indestructible origin treasure material. Life crystal, space heart. However, when the Masha clansman appeared below the space heart, it began to undergo a peculiar change. Waves of energy resonated with the two crystals, life crystal and space heart, constantly transmitting into the life crystal. It was because of this change that the Masha clansman was able to stall for time with the alien knight. Damned inheritor, tell me, just what do you want? Come up with a perfect plan. The alien knight's three faces were twisted, roaring at the same time, their voices resounding within the mountain. Let me think. The Masha clansman creased his eyebrows. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 992. I'm very clear of my own strength. The Masha clansman said to the outsider knight beside the pool, I don't have the ambition to take the space heart, but I don't want to die either. However now, I don't know how to trust you not to kill me. The outsider knight's three faces were twisted, suddenly saying, you and I have applied to form the same exploration team. As long as we're in the same team, we definitely cannot kill each other. Violators will be hunted by the ancestral god sect. No, no, no. Have you forgotten, Knight? My world of glory sensor is already damaged. The Masha clansman looked at him. Damn it. The outsider knight couldn't help but roar. This won't do. That won't do. Just what should he do? Venerable one, if you can give me a plan that can guarantee my survival, then I will definitely not leak this information. I'm even willing to stay by your side and guard the heart of space until it's formed, the Masha clone said. Even though he was arguing with the outsider knight, the Masha clansman's thoughts were all within his body. The life crystal and space heart. One small and one big. One had low energy, sector Lord Pinnacle. The other was strong enough to become the core of a treasure. One was a normal life form of the Masha clansman. The other was a 5-color pool absorbing the energy of the source grounds over a long period of time. Wong, Wong. They resonated. Energy constantly flowed into the life crystal. This energy was the essence of the space heart. It was the essence it had accumulated over a long period of time. It was the core of a treasure. However, at this time, it was constantly flowing into the life crystal. Almost every energy that flowed and exceeded the energy of the life crystal itself. The life crystal expanded, shrunk, expanded, shrunk. Every time it expanded or shrunk, there would be a change in quality. The entire life crystal was changing every second, constantly changing. The Masha clansman's true core was the life crystal. Just like back then when Luo Feng nurtured his body, the Masha clansman was that life crystal. In theory, Sector Lord Pinnacle was already the limit and couldn't be raised any further, unless one broke through to undying. However, at this time, the life crystal was constantly evolving. This was a leap in life form, just like how Luo Feng trained in the 9-level manuals, allowing his earth body and golden horned beast to constantly improve from Sector Lord Pinnacle. It was the same at this moment. Humans had ways to raise their bloodline, like using the Blood River Crystal, Beast God Blood, etc. The universe was fair. Actually, the Masha clansmen also had the chance to raise their life force. It was just that it was harder for the Masha race to raise their level of life, and the conditions were even harsher. Plus, the Masha race was rare in the universe. The secret of their transformation was only known by the upper echelons of the Masha race. The super warriors of the other races in the universe knew about it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The life crystal core continuously transformed, and the energy it contained, capable of transforming into any shape or form, was continuously improving. Boom, 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 like a flood breaking through a dam. The space core's countless years of accumulated energy was constantly being transferred. Especially as the life crystal's transformation grew, the energy transferred became stronger and stronger. The life crystal also constantly expanded and shrunk as it transformed. Gradually, golden engravings began to appear within the life crystal, almost like an artist slowly drawing. Stroke by stroke, the engravings gradually increased. The more energy it absorbed, the faster the engravings grew. Incomparably complicated engravings gradually formed. The life crystal itself had engravings, and now with the appearance of a second set, it was even more complicated than the first. Feeling its body constantly changing, the Masha clansman was filled with joy. On the surface, it was still arguing with the foreign knight. All right, since it's like this, then. The moment the foreign knight spoke, he looked shocked at the space above the Masha clansman. The Masha clansman, too, felt the change above and looked up. The two of them looked at the scene, the 10,081 space cracks that surrounded the space core. After the destruction, they disappeared forever, never to form again. Luo Feng could see with a glance. The energy within the space core was pulsating. If one were to say that the space core from before had been extremely solid for trillions of years, then after losing a large amount of energy, it was already unstable. Like a full bottle shaking half a bottle. When the energy wasn't much, it became stronger. The space cracks disappeared. The alien Venerable looked at the space heart, which was surging with energy and exuding an oppressive pressure, and his three malevolent faces revealed looks of ecstasy. It's formed, it's finally formed. Ha! The space heart is mine. There's no need to waste words with this hateful successor. So, the Venerable One flew over and tried to grab the space heart. Ka! The space core suddenly shook and a crack appeared on its surface. This shocked the foreign knight, as he looked at the space core in shock. What's going on? This. The outsider Venerable stared at the heart of space. He had only gathered some information about the heart of space, but he had never seen a real heart of space, much less seen a real heart of space. Hence he was at a loss. He felt that a real body shouldn't be like this. However, the space cracks had obviously disappeared. This was proof that it was a real body. Ka. A second crack appeared on the crystal, then a third. More and more cracks appeared. No. The foreign knight panicked, yet he couldn't stop it. In the blink of an eye, the spherical crystal with 10,081 facets was already full of cracks. Following that, a terrifying burst of energy erupted. For a moment, the energy emitted by the heart of space was tyrannical. It was as if it had become a sun, illuminating the entire mountain. This caused the Venerable One to be slightly stunned. He thought to himself, could it be that it was first destroyed and then reborn? This energy is so special, causing the space to shake so intensely. The power of the space core is indeed strong. Until now, the foreign knight still had hope. On the other hand, the Masha clan's clone could feel the life crystal core's transformation. The life crystal core was engraved with new runes, faster and faster. When the space heart was full of cracks, the life crystal core had formed a complete set of complicated runes, shining with golden light. Now, the Masha clone had two sets of runes, one from the past, the other from this time. Just as the life crystal core in the Masha clone's body reached its peak and the runes were fully formed, the essence energy from the heart of space finally stopped. There was no more essence energy. At the same time, the space core itself exploded with its last bit of energy, spreading across the entire mountain. The foreign knight was both confused and happy. Looks like this is the final radiance of the setting sun, the last ray of light. The Masha clone knew very well that in such a short period of time, the space core had transferred a huge amount of essence energy. It was simply an ocean, and the evolution is complete. The Masha clone felt the changes in his body. It was incomparably compatible with the surrounding space. If one were to say that the relationship between the Masha clone and space before was like a fish to a river, then the current Masha clone was like a drop of water to a river. It had already become a part of it. I'll study my own wonders later. Looks like the space core is about to fail. Luo Feng didn't dare stay any longer. You take a look at the space core, I won't be accompanying you. The Masha clone looked at the 5-colored pool below. Previously, the venerable outsider had used his divine power to protect the 5-colored abyssal flower, constantly maintaining the divine power barrier, afraid that the inheritor's self-detonation would damage the 5-colored abyssal flower. But when the crack in space disappeared, the venerable outsider thought that the heart of space had formed a body, so he no longer distracted himself to protect the 5-colored abyssal flower. The divine power barrier naturally disappeared. So, the Masha clan's clone suddenly charged towards one of the golden pools, disappearing in a flash. The foreign knight was shocked as he looked down. Disappeared after entering the 5-colored pool? This inheritor, did he die in the pool? Or did he slip away? The information he had obviously wasn't as detailed as Luo Feng's. This foreign knight only knew that the 5-colored pool provided the universe energy for the space core. He didn't know that it was the 5 abyss tunnels. So, what if he left? The space core is already formed. Even if he calls for someone, it'll be too late. The foreign knight was filled with anticipation as he looked up at the space core that was emitting powerful energy. The space core was incomparably glaring. Pung! Like glass shattering, the space heart emitting tyrannical energy directly exploded. Countless fragments transformed into energy in midair and disappeared into the belly of the mountain. This. The foreign knight's 3 faces were filled with shock and disbelief. How can this be? How did it break? The foreign knight didn't even think of the inheritor's problem because he had been watching. The inheritor didn't even touch the space core. I've never heard of a space core breaking. Don't tell me. Don't tell me that the damned inheritor rushed into the 5-colored pool and caused a special reaction. The foreign knight looked down at the 5-colored pool. He couldn't think of any other reason. Only the inheritor's action of rushing into the pool made him feel strange. No. The foreign knight couldn't believe it. He had been suffering for 3,000 eras. In these 3,000 eras, he had been waiting for the day the space core formed. Especially in the recent era, he realized that the space core had already formed and was about to form. Hence, he came every day to sweep through it, to prevent other warriors from stealing it at the last moment. This was a space core that could be made into an origin treasure. And the space core was a high-level origin treasure's core material. In terms of value, it was even more valuable than some of the other treasures. Any core material of the origin treasure was enough to make countless universe venerables go crazy. He had been suffering for so long, and in the end, it was all for naught. Even if he rushed into the 5-colored pool. That was after the space crack disappeared and the space core formed. The foreign knight shook his head. How did it break? How did it break? The foreign knight was in pain, anger, and unwillingness. Roar. The 3 faces let out angry and ear-piercing roars at the same time. Tyrannical divine power suddenly erupted and shot out from the caves in the cave abode. For a moment, the floating cone-shaped mountain was accompanied by ear-piercing roars. Countless caves spewed out divine power light beams. P.S. Chapter 1 here. 3 days have passed. Tomato is in a good mood. Yes, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation.